PI reports nearly 3 in 10 Americans are delaying healthcare treatments because of their cost, according to a new Gallup survey released on Monday. Gallup's annual Health and Healthcare Survey found 29% postponed treatments for the cost. It said more than half of them reported a serious or somewhat serious medical illness or condition, a figure equivalent to 19% of all U.S. adults. The share of Americans who delayed treatment is consistent with data in recent polls. In 1991, 22% of respondents put off medical treatment, and an average of 24% delayed care between 2001 and 2004. The current rate of 29% has remained steady in years since. Delayed treatment depends on available health insurance, another consistent finding. Gallup found that those with no coverage are more likely to forego treatment, with over half of the respondents in that category reporting a delay. The report found those enrolled in Medicare or Medicaid are least likely to wait. The poll results said Americans with health insurance are still often responsible for deductibles, co-payments, and other out-of-pocket cost. While it reduces demand for healthcare services, it can prevent many people from initiating treatment for medical conditions. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports a woman who climbed the Statue of Liberty's stone pedestal to protest U.S. immigration policy declared in federal court on Monday she would do it again to call attention to the plight of families separated at the border and was found guilty of trespassing. Therese Patricia Okomo was also convicted of interfering with governmental administration and disorderly conduct before a U.S. magistrate judge in New York City. Each misdemeanor carries a maximum sentence of 6 months in jail, according to Nicholas Biasi, a spokesman for the U.S. Attorney's Office in New York. Okomo, a native of the Democratic Republic of Congo, who the New York Daily News said became a U.S. citizen in 2016, remains free pending her sentencing on March 5th. In a statement announcing the guilty verdict, U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Berman said Okomo's actions went well beyond peaceable protest. Berman said it was a crime that put people at grave risk, calling her conduct dangerous and reckless. Okomo was arrested on July 4th after she scaled the base of the statue, and after not complying with police for 3 hours, police evacuated the landmark in the midst of the U.S. Independence Day holiday. She and her lawyer later said her act of civil disobedience was primarily a demonstration against the Trump administration's policy of separating migrant children from parents who were caught crossing the U.S. border illegally. Administration officials said the policy was needed to secure the border, but it was ended in June after images of separated youngsters held in cage-like detention facilities sparked a furor both at home and abroad. Testifying in her own defense on Monday, Okomo was asked by her attorney, Ron Kuby, whether she would repeat her protest under the same circumstances. She answered yes, adding, "As long as our children are being placed in cages, my moral values call for me to do something about it." This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
The American robin heralds the beginning of spring in temperate climates across North America. Its red breast makes it easily identifiable as the most disturbingly efficient murderer in the animal kingdom. Robins inculcate their young with these twisted maws. We see an adult robin feeding its young with the ripped-apart viscerae of an innocent worm. Like the Greek hero Atreus eating the flesh of his children at his own table, this black deed must surely curse the entire species. Even the most depraved acts of humanity pale in comparison to the robin's wickedness. Like idiot rapists, they commit their foul deeds with neither foresight nor hindsight. They live entirely in the present. Living beyond space and time, their god is the awful seething maelstrom of chaos at the center of the unfeeling universe.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want. Our number is toll-free. If you want to do it that way, you can call 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And then also we do have the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. You can connect to one of those, and then you'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. And the us tonight includes me, Ian.
And Johnson.
Johnson's back. And Mark.
Johnson is
haven't
back.
been on a break that long since you guys left Florida.
Yeah. Well, I didn't ask you off the air. Did you want to talk about why you took a slight vacation?
Yeah, sure. So, a cause unknown, possibly a root canal. I contracted, I guess, developed Bell's palsy, which is a
Wait a minute.
condition.
Wait a minute. There is no documented link between root canals and Bell's palsy.
Yeah. There's no documented link. Just Google that and ignore the thousands of results that all say there's no documented link. When people are asking, it's the dentists replying, of course there's no documented link. And yet you see...
Even though it's happened to a lot of people.
Thousands and thousands of people on various forums and just, question websites and stuff like that asking, hey, is there a link? And
so you had a root canal.
Yeah, so I had a root
and
canal
how long after?
A week later. And actually, if anybody feels like going back to the last show I was on, it started while I was on the air. So
yeah, you told me this. I didn't notice it at all.
I was definitely noticing that I'm speaking out of one side of my mouth. This is very strange sensation.
Because
I feel like I'm like, hey, like talking out of one side of my mouth, and I'm like, what? This is very.
So this freezes half the face.
So essentially, I guess it's an inflammation that a virus. Something like chicken pox or something that you've had in your system for a very long time. Lyme disease is a very common cause. Sits into your system, and your immune system, especially someone like me, I'm diabetic, has a weakened immune system, and something like a root canal can obviously further weaken that immune system, causes the facial nerve, which innervates the face from right around the temporomandibular joint. It's the joint that's right in front of your ear where your jaw connects. And that nerve becomes inflamed. And so then every nerve that goes to every muscle in that side of your face becomes basically no longer able to get signal, so it won't fire. Just nothing. Now, what's interesting in my case, you can have it two different ways. You can be completely numb, where you can't feel anything and can't move anything. Strangely, in mine, I could feel everything. My face felt completely normal. I just couldn't move it. The other thing that's interesting is it's a very weird quirk of human physiology, is that Bell's palsy is the only condition where it numbs the entire half of the face. There's another condition that numbs half the face, and this is one that the hospital freaked out, rushed me to the emergency room thinking I was having a stroke.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So that was not fun. But I guess the difference is the way that you can tell is that with a stroke, that half of the face will be completely numb except for the forehead. So the eyebrow on the forehead will be spared, and it's called, forehead sparing, like I guess hemispherical palsy or whatever. And that's how they determined. They're like, oh. And as soon as they figured out that, like, oh, your forehead isn't spared, because when I went in,
meaning it's frozen. The forehead was also frozen.
Yeah. So what happened is that I had gone. So first of all, again, it was starting to happen during that night on Free Talk Live, and then the next morning I went and I looked in the mirror and I'm like, I can't move this half of my face.
So it came on fast.
Yeah, it came on. It was overnight. It was done. It had completely frozen that side of my face.
Hundreds of thousands of people across America right now are moving their eyebrows up and down.
Just checking.
So I woke up the next day. It was, I couldn't move half my face. And
Jeez.
I was aware of Bell's palsy because my mother has had Bell's palsy, actually, because of Lyme disease. She had very, very bad Lyme disease where she had to have an IV run and had experienced Bell's palsy. And so I had a little bit of experience with it. I'm like, I'm experiencing Bell's palsy. I didn't think it was a stroke. It felt normal. I felt like with a stroke, and, the other test for doing a stroke is taking your hands and putting your hands out in front of you and, seeing if they're level. It's kind of like almost like what is that, sobriety test almost, as if you can control that half of your body normally, then it's probably not a stroke. I mean, I knew it was just my face. Something was going on in my face. So, but I went to the hospital. They were freaking out. They thought it might be a stroke, but it turned out it was, fine. And,
it's kind of their job to jump to the wrong conclusion.
Now, is there a treatment for this, or is it just, hope for the best? And
there's some, it's something that should generally 80% of people, 85% plus, something like that, will recover on their own and recover fully.
Yeah.
There are ways to speed up the recovery. So it can take up to 6 months to recover from Bell's palsy.
Took you, what, month and a half, 2?
I think so, something like that. Some people can recover in as little as 10 days.
Yeah, I think it was early November when you... Yeah, so just over a month.
Yeah. So one way of speeding up the recovery is using an electromuscular stimulator, which is something
a little zapper.
It's a little, there's like a little pad zapper, or in some cases it's like 2 pads or multiple pads. Physical therapists use them frequently to cause muscles to twitch,
spasm. Yeah,
to spasm, so that
I've seen one of those somewhere.
Like for physical therapy, rebuilding muscles, and that is obviously forcing the muscles to fire, which helps prevent them from atrophying, and it also is sending signal through the nerves, which can trigger them to heal or become more active. So that would have been nice had I had access to that, but I looked at electrical muscle stimulators, and they were hundreds if not thousands of dollars.
Really?
And I did not feel like doing that. There are TENS devices, which is another type of therapy, but that's actually for the elimination of the feeling of pain. It's not really so much for triggering muscles to fire, so I didn't really want to necessarily mess with that, although it's supposed to be able to help. I turned to, I had been doing research on my own because I had that thyroid incident that I've talked about in the past that caused nerves in my leg to demyelinate, which means that the sheath on the nerve had stripped off in the past.
And that's painful, right?
And that's, it also causes extreme muscle weakness and, problems with the muscles moving because the nerve signals are just spreading out into space and not going to their intended target. It's like if you strip a wire and try and run it, the signal, it's not going to go where it's supposed to go. Well, so studying that, I was studying about remyelinating nerves and dealing with nerve damage, and I came across studies that talk about lion's mane mushroom, that it is very good at not only helping to increase memory and reduce brain problems in old age, because it's very good supposedly at starting with neurogenesis, which means that it's
eating mushrooms. Okay.
Well, a mushroom supplement. It wasn't actually the mushroom, right?
Well, it's ground mushroom put into a pill cap, but it's basically eating mushrooms. And I'd heard of this obviously from eating psilocybin mushrooms as well. So I'm like, okay, well, this probably has some merit to it, especially since there are lots of real medical studies saying that this thing really does have some neurogenesis benefits. So I'm like, well, let's go ahead and try that. And the day I started taking the lion's mane mushroom, I started having recovery.
Wow.
Yeah, like the day after.
Wow.
Essentially, I started having, it was like I hadn't really started any recovery until that happened. And then once I started the lion's mane, it started right away. Now, I'm not saying anything about, whether or not it was just coincidence. I have no idea, but it did start in earnest the day after I started the lion's mane. So, that and just, massaging my face and doing, various face exercises. I was just kind of constantly trying to move my face as much as I could.
You're still able to work, though? Go to work during the time?
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so, but you just didn't want to be on the air because you sounded different,
I
right?
sounded different. I actually didn't really want to even answer the phones where I was working, too, because I was just like, I was trying to talk.
Was that what it sounded like?
It was it wasn't that bad, but it was a little bit like that.
All right, we got more coming up here. Welcome back. Johnson's with us. Toll-free number if you want to join us. We can talk about Trump and Putin. Apparently, there's some news about that, and it's a big deal. When do you want to spot that burglar? When he's casing your home or after he's in? Ask John, whose Blink camera alerted him of burglars trying to break in while his family was home. Or Shannon, whose Blink camera caught a package thief. Blink motion-activated cameras are wire-free, set up in minutes, and run on 2 AA batteries that last up to 2 years. Save up to a whopping 40% off all outdoor XT and add-on cameras through December 22nd, while supplies last. Visit blinkprotect.com/holiday. Blinkprotect.com/holiday.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you can move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep sleep faster and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed, it's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry MyPillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose.
And here's Mike's best offer ever. MyPillow is now offering 50% off their 4-pack special plus free shipping. Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-951-5617 and use promo code FTL. That's 50% off plus free shipping. Don't delay. Order now.
Free Talk Live.
I wish you would have answered the question as to what's the age range. I mean, if two 10-year-old boys are playing doctor with each other, and he was specific that he said it was okay for a boy and a girl to play doctor, which did happen to me when I was that age, but I was 2, maybe 2.5, 3 years older than that girl. Am I a molester? She was the one trying to take my pants off. Should she go to jail?
You know, people like Lou, they get all upset over things like this when they're not even apprised of the facts. And you try to tell them the facts, and they just, since it doesn't fit with their worldview,
right.
It doesn't fit with their core belief system, it can't be possibly true that I could have possibly have known what I was doing at that
Children
age.
who are engaged in sex with somebody who is older are being manipulated. That's one of them. And, sometimes that's sometimes that's true.
Absolutely. There's no doubt.
And sometimes it's not.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll-free here. You can bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE. Headline over at Forbes. This came out, I guess, a couple days ago. Headline, Mueller exposes Putin's hold over Trump. So apparently some of the allegations about Trump being in bed with the Russians may be true, at least according to the FBI agent who's been investigating that. So we can talk about that on the way here. Of course, your calls and thoughts are welcome. And do want to make sure that you know about Bitcoin.com. That is where you can go to learn about cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, the one that started it all. It's basically the 10th anniversary, essentially basically now, from late October through early January, 10th anniversary right now of Bitcoin. And it is at a low for the last year. It's at around $3,500 per Bitcoin right now, and that's about half
for the
of
last
what it was.
year. It is at a low.
That's correct, for the last year.
It's quite high over, say, 5 years.
It's quite high, especially over the 10 years where it started from zero.
Yeah.
So you should go and learn more about Bitcoin over at Bitcoin.com. They've got the Bitcoin.com Academy, which will get you started and get you learning within just a matter of minutes. It's not a very long course that you have to go through, and it's super easy. Bitcoin.com, go and check that out. And also, they got their news site there. You can get your first Bitcoin or a fraction of it because you don't have to buy a whole one. You can buy, you want to buy $10 worth, $20 worth, $50 worth. It's possible to do those things with Bitcoin because they are divisible down 8 decimal points. So keep that in mind. Bitcoin.com. They got a bunch of cool features, and a lot of them are free. So go and check that out. As we go to your calls and thoughts to start things out here, we got Matthew on the line in Louisiana. Matthew, you're listening online via the TuneIn app. Go ahead.
Yeah, so today, on my way back from lunch, I went to Breitbart to check out the headlines, and guess what? The Trump administration has decided to ban bump stocks.
Ah, okay.
Well, we saw that coming.
Yeah, I'm not particularly pleased by that. It's like, if this dude really wants to lose in 2020, just don't run. Don't put
You're
up
saying he's
the
alienating
agony
his
of a
base.
primary fight.
You're saying he's alienating his base, the Republicans who voted for him, by targeting guns.
Well, he's alienating that portion of the Second Amendment community that reads the Second Amendment and thinks, yeah, we've already gone too far. We need to be going backwards as far as gun regulations. Anything the military has, we should be able to have. I'm willing to give them nukes, okay? I don't think civilians should own nukes.
Nope, neither.
But besides that, drones, tanks,
I kind of feel
fighters.
about the bump stocks. My guess is what his plan was. This is just a guess. Is that he thought to himself, well, not a lot of people have these, and maybe it's something I can a bone I can throw the gun banners way that'll keep them off my breathing down my neck. Now that will never stop them, and there's no point in being unprincipled for an item, whether a bunch of people have it or not, because although I don't have a bump stock and never going to have a bump stock, I realize that all somebody has to do is hold a gun loosely in their hand and then ease the, they can do a bump stock without a bump stock. You do it with rubber bands.
They can do it with a rubber band.
Right. Now, is this something
that's a 3D printer to print one?
So I'm guessing this means that you don't need to actually pass a law to ban a thing in the United States? Trump can just decide this sort of thing?
The Gun Owners of America says, oh, no, you don't. You're going to have to pass a law to ban these. And so they filed suit seeking to gain an injunction.
Nice.
I wish the freaking NRA would do that, but they're so busy playing, Mexican drug lord, old Murta, that we haven't heard squat from them. I think they must be under the impression that we're mad at them because they banged some Russian chick or something, No, we're not mad at them about that. Jeez and peace, guys. Start talking. Better yet, ask your membership what your membership thinks, because your membership probably ain't real thrilled with this bump stock ban, except for the bugs.
It says here that the Firearms Policy Coalition filed a federal lawsuit challenging Trump's bump stock ban. This according to Reason.com story. So you're saying gun owners is part of that coalition?
No, Gun Owners is a separate organization.
Okay.
FPC is mainly some pro-Second Amendment groups based in California, Calguns.
So you're saying Gun Owners of America also filed a suit against this? So there's more than one suit?
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
At least as far as I know. Now, Gun Owners of America might be part of that, but I don't think they are. And then the Second Amendment Foundation is supposed to be a separate organization. There's like a whole nest of other than NRA gun rights groups that think that the NRA is just big but not particularly effective.
Sure. The NRA has, in recent years and over many years on Free Talk Live, we've never had anybody singing the praises of the NRA. No one has ever called this show to talk about how great they think the NRA is as far as their principles.
I did have the president of the NRA on one time. No, I had the president of Ruger on one time who had
change, right?
just made a big donation to NRA.
Okay, so he liked the NRA then?
Yeah, he did.
All right.
Well, he couldn't understand why. He thought that disliking the NRA meant disliking guns.
I see.
He didn't, quite get it.
It's probably a political move more than anything else.
The thing about the NRA is that its size is supposed to serve as a deterrent for politicians doing CRAP like the Orange Man just did.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently it didn't deter much of that.
Great point. Matthew, thanks for bringing that up tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. According to Reason.com, although the Obama administration was more supportive of gun control than the Trump administration, Obama's administration repeatedly declared that bump stocks were legal, meaning that banning them would require a new act of Congress. So apparently Trump has decided he wants to go around that whole lawmaking process here.
Yeah, I mean, Trump. It doesn't surprise me that Trump isn't really worried about the legality of it all.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably going to be upset that somebody's thinks that he should have to have gotten a law passed, and rather than just handing down a decree.
If you want to join us, you can. I don't know what else there is to say about this. I mean, look, Trump's not a freedom-loving person. He ran as a Republican. Is he an actual Republican? What do Republicans really believe when it comes to guns? I think there's probably a wide range of belief systems if you were to ask Republicans. Some of them are probably just fine with things like gun licensing or keeping guns out of the hands of felons or whatever. And I think that we don't need any of that stuff. We should just have freedom to defend yourself. Shouldn't have to ask anybody's permission to own a thing. Basically an inanimate object. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. A tool. It can be used for good and it can be used for bad things too. You can take control. You can bring up what you want. In fact, speaking of Trump, what's his tie with the Russian government, with Putin himself? Well, there's some interesting claims coming out of the FBI. It's Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
The United States of Empire is a book that claims the United States is the empire of the world. George Washington had warned us against foreign wars. The United States of Empire shows that World Wars I and II left England broken. Its former colony, the U.S., had to save the empire. Was there ever a vote? Who do we fight for? The deep state began with World War I. The United States of Empire by James Dunn. Available at Amazon Books.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You may dial toll-free and join us here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Joining you here in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
So, I got to admit, I have not been following this whole Trump-Russia situation, allegations very closely at all. But then...
Fake news.
Well, I don't know about that at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Wrong.
Yeah. I mean, Trump may want you to believe that it's fake news, but at this point, you now have an agent in the FBI who is coming out apparently with some very interesting allegations. What he might claim are facts about Trump. And
one of the best things about the Trump administration so far is people are doubting the things that FBI agents say now.
That's pretty valuable. And I think that's generally something that you should do. You shouldn't necessarily believe anybody, from the government when they tell you things, whether it's Trump himself or the FBI agent, which is why I'm sort of saying allegations about this. That said, they're interesting, and some would say damning to Donald Trump. We can get into that coming up here. Of course, your calls and thoughts are also welcome. Plus, the Blink home security system is still on sale through December 22nd, or while supplies last. We've talked about our experiences with Blink here on Free Talk Live, having used it in the studio as well as Mark at your house. And these are wireless cameras, security cameras, HD quality, wireless, meaning you don't have to run wires through the walls to get the camera working. You just put the batteries in it, which are just double A's, and then you put the camera up wherever it is you want around your house. There is a little hub, so there's one wire in the system. That's the hub that plugs into the wall, with which the cameras communicate. And it works very, very well. You receive notices on your phone or whatever smart device you have, wherever you happen to be, as long as you got internet access. Obviously, you're not going to get a notice if you don't have any way of getting the notice.
Right.
But if you're in a place with internet access, which most people are at most times, you will receive notices when things happen in front of the cameras during the times you specify them to be operating. And it's a pretty slick system. So you don't have to deal with having, paying somebody to monitor. So there's no ongoing subscription. There's no contract. You just buy the devices at blinkprotect.com/holiday. It's a special holiday sale. You buy the devices, they get shipped to you. You put them up wherever you want in your home, or maybe in your small office as well. Blinkprotect.com/holiday gets you up to 40% off of all outdoor XT and add-on cameras through December 22nd. And by the way, Blink is an Amazon company, so Blink works with Alexa. Check it out. Blinkprotect.com/holiday. So here's a story from Forbes, and I don't think we need to go through the whole thing because it is a little exhaustive, but I think the beginning portions of it will give people an idea of what exactly these allegations are by a special counsel office headed by Robert Mueller. Now, this is the FBI agent who I guess he's been making all kinds of headlines recently. I've seen the name. I guess he's been investigating Donald Trump and ties to Russia. So there's been a court document filed now for the first time highlighting or explaining this narrative of this probe, this Russian probe. The court filing revealed what many had long suspected, that Trump and his family had used or tried to use his presidential candidacy and then his presidency to enhance their own wealth. Shocking. Why, no other president in the history of the United States has ever used their presidency to enhance their own wealth.
Neither do the legislators.
How much was Obama worth before and after the presidency?
I don't know, but I bet he was worth more afterwards.
A lot more.
Well, I guess they would argue that, well, it's okay if you use the presidency after you're out of office, because then you can get speaker's fees and things like that as a former president of the United States. But is the claim here that it's illegal to use the presidency for your own pecuniary benefit? I suspect that's what they're saying. We also learned finally what hold Russian President Vladimir Putin has over Trump. It's not, as some suspected, a money laundering episode from over a decade ago. It was something that happened in real time during the presidential election itself.
That's bad.
Thus, Trump himself repeatedly stating since entering the presidential race in June of 2015 that he had no business in Russia and no interactions with representatives of Russia.
So it's not a testimony in front of the House or anything, but it certainly doesn't look good. I mean, if it was just telling flat-out lies.
Right, to the media, for instance. It now turns out that Putin knew what the American people didn't, namely that Donald Trump was, throughout the 2016 presidential primary campaign, secretly negotiating to build a huge and lucrative hotel in Moscow, which required the personal support of Vladimir Putin. The fact that Putin knew about Trump's secret dealings while the American people didn't,
that building a hotel requires Putin to say yes, also bad,
meant that if Trump didn't do what Russia wanted, Russia could expose Trump's lies and so bring him down. It seems like an awful lot to risk just to get a hotel deal, doesn't it? I mean, if you're going to run for the presidency of the United States and you kind of have to at least look somewhat clean during the time frame that you're running, to have a deal going in Russia for just a hotel that you've got to engage with the Russian government over, and that gives them leverage over you. It seems crazy that he would put himself in that position.
Good point.
The filing revealed that Mueller's office is now investigating the hypothesis that Donald Trump, his campaign, his organization, and his associates participated in a massive election fraud through 5 interlocking conspiracies. Arguably, this is the opinion of the Forbes article here, arguably the worst set of crimes against the United States in its history.
Oh my God.
Now that seems a little hyperbolic to call this the worst set of crimes against the United States.
Every single time this just turns out to be fiction, just over and over and over again.
What do you mean?
Well, they keep going after this same, plot that Trump has been conspiring with Russia, and every single time it turns out to be total nonsense.
So you're saying you don't believe what the FBI special investigators come up with?
Every single time they come up with something, it turns out to be a pack of lies. I mean, is it going to happen again?
Honestly, I have not paid close enough attention to this, so I don't know what exactly.
I've been paying moderate attention, and every single time it just is like whenever they come up with something, it vanishes, it evaporates.
Huh. Well, so this is a court filing.
But there are a lot of people who've been arrested at this point surrounding Trump. I mean, the noose is tightening.
You mean like his attorney?
Yeah. I mean, do you want the list?
I mean,
it's like a half a dozen people.
Okay.
Yeah, but then don't they try them and release them? I mean, isn't that? I mean,
well,
you can arrest people and
they're trying to
all
get them
want.
to testify against someone.
Right. So
probably Trump.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting a lot of people that they're putting the pinch on. They're squeezing them and trying to force them into confessions. Where have we seen police do this before? You know, like, whereas law enforcement's never tried to force a confession that didn't exist.
Well, the claim here about this, Johnson, is that this is the first court filing to actually outline these allegations. So maybe, again, like I said, I'm pretty new to a lot of this. I've just sort of vaguely been hearing about it over time. I've just been putting it off like, oh, so what? You know, politicians are corrupt. Okay, so Trump is corrupt too. Yeah. Whoopie-doo. And ultimately, that's still kind of how I feel about this. Is like, oh, okay.
I mean,
so
the
president's
only thing
corrupt.
that I can imagine is going to happen here is something that was actually nothing being turned into something that's huge. You know, like you know,
so
these two people had coffee together, and clearly that coffee was paid for with tax dollars. You know, like something just ridiculous.
Well, they're saying here basically Trump's already been caught in lies. So if Trump has been saying, if Trump was saying during his campaign he has no connections to Russia, but it turns out he was actually involved in secret negotiations with Vladimir Putin himself over this hotel.
I did not have relations with that Putin.
Well, there's actually, I mean, there's no doubt. I think it's totally fair to compare Trump to all the other presidents and say, look, there's scandals all over the place. This is just
I did not have
Trump's
relations with
scandal.
Putin, and you can take that to the bank.
So this is Trump's scandal. For some time, it's been obvious, says Forbes, that Donald Trump has been acting in a weird way towards America's adversary, Russia. Until recently, the miscellaneous bits and pieces of the Trump-Russia jigsaw puzzle didn't fit together in any coherent way. However, now there's this court filing, and they're going to get into a little bit more about this narrative and what the alleged illegal activity was. We can talk about that coming up, too. Your
Read
calls
my
and thoughts,
lips.
Walter.
No new relations with Putin.
It's Free Talk Live.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Would you like to get back that full head of hair from years past? Introducing Reveal from GCNlife.com. Beverly Hills dermatologist Dr. Nathan Newman invented Reveal, which contains polypeptides with natural botanicals and no parabens, sulfates, silicones, or dyes for a salon-quality hair growth product. Reveal. Here's Dr. Newman.
I have treated a lot of patients who lose their hair and they lose their confidence. We've created a unique set of polypeptides, which we call HPT6. The HPT6 contains the polypeptides from 6 different plants. The scalp infusion treatment should be used on wet or dry scalp. The Reveal hair care system is designed to be used for men and women alike.
Get Reveal at GCNlife.com with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So try Reveal today at GCNlife.com or 844-443-6637. Plus a discount up to 25% off for Reveal at GCNlife.com or 844-443-6637.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you AMP Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. What are the allegations that are now coming from the FBI, their special investigator, I guess, this Robert Mueller character? What are the allegations surrounding Donald Trump and Russia and their involvement with each other, with President Vladimir Putin? Some big claims here that we're going to be continuing to cover. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
Don't forget, you can join us online over at freetalklive.com. We do have our forum at forum.freetalklive.com. You can interact with other Free Talk Live listeners there, and you can keep things organized, unlike, Facebook, where it's impossible to know what's going on and do any searching or anything like that. So check it out, forum.freetalklive.com. As we continue here with a very detailed article from Forbes magazine, Forbes.com, Steve Denning, their senior contributor, writing this. About the grand narrative surrounding the Russia deal with Trump, which Trump's been denying the whole time. Maybe it's going to turn out that there actually was something going on. According to the court filing, Mueller's probe initially focused on the Russian dimension of the case. The, quote, core crime is that the Russian Federation and its associates illegally conspired to intervene in the 2016 presidential election.
This I find to be the most specious of arguments. Really, America? You've got the you've tolerated the CIA for decades, interfering in not just the elections of other countries, but like assassinating their leaders.
Yeah,
going in and destroying whole elected governments. You've put up
that's
with
in
that.
the name of freedom.
Yeah. I mean,
totally fine when they do it.
It's okay when America does it, but the Russians buy some ads on social media platforms, and you're like, oh my God, democracy can't handle this. American voters are too stupid to handle Russians buying ads. If American voters are too stupid to handle Russians buying ads, they shouldn't be able to vote. I mean, this is the best argument against democracy I've ever heard. My God, your friends and neighbors are this freaking dumb? That's what you think? Because I do too. I absolutely think they're that dumb. But I don't have a problem with Russia buying ads.
Meanwhile, what about the Americans who were intentionally attempting to influence the elections? The American employees of Google, Facebook, Apple, who, were attempting to influence, online ads and social media and all that to swing the election to the left.
You mean like how Google wouldn't show certain results if you search for specific things, that kind of thing?
And how they're constantly doing that kind of stuff all the time.
Well, that's totally fine. I mean, that's your property. You should be able to put whatever you want on it, as far as you should be able to run your search engine however you want.
So why wouldn't it be okay to do that with Russian ads?
I tend to agree. I find this completely unpersuasive that it's a bad idea for somebody in Russia to buy an advertisement supporting a political candidate. I just don't care. Like, to me, that doesn't really matter at all. But to these people, they act like this is... I mean, this guy writing this story, the senior contributor to Forbes, actually claims that this is the worst set of crimes against the United States in its history.
I am curious, when will you be running for governor of New Hampshire again?
Me?
Comrade Ian.
No time soon. I don't have any plans.
We have many plans for your next campaign.
I don't accept contributions to my campaign. I actually had to return a couple contributions.
Oh, we won't be contributing to you. We will be buying advertisements, you see.
This is true. Yeah, I couldn't stop somebody from doing that. If somebody wanted to promote my campaign, then by all means, you do whatever you want with your own money.
But what if you had a conversation with them and they told you it was going to happen? Clearly, there's collusion. Collusion.
Right, yeah. That's the issue. Is that it's not whether Russians bought ads, because best I can tell,
they're
that's
acting
true.
like that's a problem, though.
But
even if it happened in a vacuum, they're acting like that's a problem. Facebook
if the
banning.
Russians told Donald Trump that they were going to buy ads, and Donald Trump said, okay, then that would be the problem that they're talking about.
Well, of course, it's more than that, but that's one aspect of it. They're claiming that they conspired to intervene in the election in favor of Donald Trump in February. In July of 2018, Robert Mueller, the special counsel, indicted the Russian entities GRU and IRA, along with 13 Russian nationals and 12 Russian intelligence officers, for these so-called crimes, which we might call collectively the Russian intervention. The indictments describe the illegal interventions in minute detail. Now, the special counsel has turned to the American dimension of the elections. They have appear to be exploring 5 interlocking criminal conspiracies, building on the core crime of the Russian intervention. Thus, on December 7th, the special counsel's office filed a court document that has given us important new clues as to the main hypothesis being explored. Number 1. So here's the 5 alleged interlocking conspiracies is what they're saying.
I'd like to point out that we've already had a midterm election since Trump has been brought in office.
Yes. By the time they get around to doing anything about this, it'll be the next election.
Justice's terrible swift sword, my God. I mean, it's glacial in pace. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. This is what it took to find out, well, looks like he talked to the Russians about advertising.
Number 1, conspiring with Russia. Donald Trump, his campaign, his organizations, and his associates knew of the intent of, these are the allegations, the FBI.
That's the allegation.
Knew of the intent of the Russian Federation to carry out the Russian intervention as early as November of 2015. Upon learning of that, instead of alerting the FBI to the likelihood of a foreign government trying to commit a crime, Donald Trump, his campaign...
by the way, how is anyone supposed to know that Russians buying ads on Facebook is a crime? I mean, if you went around in 2016 and you asked Americans, hey, you think it's a crime for a foreign government to buy ads on Facebook?
What's the crime exactly?
What if that foreign government's ads have to do with the election, supporting a particular candidate?
I still am not clear as to exactly what the crime is there. Is Facebook committing the crime in that case? Because Russia's not committing a crime. They're not in the United States. A crime in this case.
They've indicted Russian actors and actually got an arrest, I believe.
Wow. It does say they indicted some people here, but if the person's not within the jurisdiction of the United States, how is it a crime?
Who cares about the indictment?
How is it a crime? Anyway, going on here, learning of that intent. So they're saying instead of alerting the FBI, they conspired illegally throughout the 2016 presidential campaign to encourage and enable the Russian intervention. The result was to defraud the American people of a free and fair election.
Free and fair. Free and fair.
Well, yeah, elections have never been free.
If it was fair, you'd have some choice between that wasn't Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. If it was free and you haven't had free and fair elections in your lifetime.
Yeah.
Joke that is.
Yeah, I find that to be pretty laughable as well. And I'm not really sure exactly how it is that an advertisement coming from an external source on the internet somehow corrupts if the elections were free and fair. I'm not sure how that is a corrupting influence on anything. It's just a claim on an advertisement.
Well,
made by somebody who doesn't live here.
Advertising works, but it's not magic. So
sure.
You need to appeal to. They need to set a whole basis of sort of a foundation of lies in order to make lies work or whatever. But I mean, how much of this stuff was even untrue? I don't know that allegation's been made that the Russian advertisements were false.
Yeah, they're not saying that, are they?
I mean,
the Russians bought advertisements that were allegedly true, maybe, talking about Hillary or whatever it was that they were saying. I mean, can we get an example of what these ads looked like?
Yeah, it's my understanding, by the way, that Hillary had an ex-MI6 agent and somehow working with her campaign, not on,
That's British intelligence, right?
So there you have a foreign actor involved in the campaign.
So that was the first alleged. This all they claim are interlocking conspiracies. Here's number 2 out of 5. The Moscow Trump Tower project. Donald Trump, his campaign, organization, and associates illegally conspired to expand its involvement with Russia beyond the Russian intervention itself through efforts from November 2015, at least until June of 2016, to negotiate and build the Moscow Trump Tower project. The project, if realized, would bring, quote, hundreds of millions of dollars from Russian sources in licensing fees and other revenues, unquote, to Donald Trump, his organization, and some of his associates. Okay, so Trump was doing business in Russia, which, he claimed he wasn't, so that's obviously something you can prove to be false, right? That's an easy thing to prove. Okay, Donald Trump lied. Probably not the first time.
But as I understand it, Donald Trump has not given a deposition before the FBI.
Smart move.
And he has not testified before a court regarding this.
Right.
So
it's not perjury.
It's just at that point sort of proprietary information that he withheld. I'm not saying that it's right. I'm just saying that it's not illegal. It's wrong to lie while you're running for president.
Number 3, currying favor with Russia. The Moscow project, they say, was a lucrative business opportunity, according to the special counsel's filing, that sought and likely required the assistance of the Russian government. Accordingly, Donald Trump, his campaign, organization, associates illegally conspired to curry favor with the Russian Federation in order to facilitate said Trump Tower and to promote their own financial interests, thus depriving the American people of both a free and fair election. And we'll continue here in moments. This is Free Talk Live. Hour 2 is next.
Trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. Former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. Join online at www.acs2018.com. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars.
To join the American Cannabis Summit, visit acs2018.com or text JOIN to 76280. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Text JOIN to 76280. Text JOIN to 76280 now.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, December 18th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.65 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,249 per ounce. Zen is trading at $5, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,539. Antiwar.com reports, speaking on Monday, U.S. Special Envoy James Jeffrey confirmed that the U.S. is no longer demanding regime change in Syria and is not actively trying to force Syrian President Bashar Assad from office. That said, the American goal is a regime that is fundamentally different, even if it includes Assad. Jeffrey said Assad must accept such a compromise because he has not yet won the Syrian war. The U.S. has long demanded regime change as part of the end to the Syrian war, and even in staying in Syria militarily, officials have conditioned leaving on a successful transition and insisted that Assad could not be involved. Now there's resignation that Assad will stay, but Jeffrey says the U.S. and its allies are prepared to withhold any aid to reconstruct Syria unless there is some assurance that the changes they are demanding are implemented. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform and generate income from them. This will allow Horizon to bring thousands of real-life services to the community. Services that provide freedom, utility, and privacy. HORIZEN.global. UPI reports nearly 3 in 10 Americans are delaying healthcare treatments because of their cost, according to a new Gallup survey released on Monday. Gallup's annual health and healthcare survey found 29% postponed treatments for the cost. It said more than half of them reported a serious or somewhat serious medical illness or condition, a figure equivalent to 19% of all U.S. adults. The share of Americans who delayed treatment is consistent with data in recent polls. In 1991, 22% of respondents put off medical treatment, and an average of 24% delayed care between 2001 and 2004. The current rate of 29% has remained steady in years since. Delayed treatment depends on available health insurance, another consistent finding. Gallup found that those with no coverage are more likely to forego treatment, with over half of the respondents in that category reporting a delay. The report found those enrolled in Medicare or Medicaid are least likely to wait. The poll results said Americans with health insurance are still often responsible for deductibles, co-payments, and other out-of-pocket costs. While it reduces demand for healthcare services, it can prevent many people from initiating treatment for medical conditions. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports a woman who climbed the Statue of Liberty's stone pedestal to protest U.S. immigration policy declared in federal court on Monday she would do it again to call attention to the plight of families separated at the border and was found guilty of trespassing. Therese Patricia Okomo was also convicted of interfering with governmental administration and disorderly conduct before a U.S. magistrate judge in New York City. Each misdemeanor carries a maximum sentence of 6 months in jail, according to Nicholas Biasi, a spokesman for the U.S. Attorney's Office in New York. Okomo, a native of the Democratic Republic of Congo, who the New York Daily News said became a U.S. citizen in 2016, remains free pending her sentencing on March 5th. In a statement announcing the guilty verdict, U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Berman said Okomo's actions went well beyond peaceable protest. Berkman said it was a crime that put people at grave risk, calling her conduct dangerous and reckless. Okomo was arrested on July 4th after she scaled the base of the statue, and after not complying with police for 3 hours, police evacuated the landmark in the midst of the U.S. Independence Day holiday. She and her lawyer later said her act of civil disobedience was primarily a demonstration against the Trump administration's policy of separating migrant children from parents who were caught crossing the U.S. border illegally. Administration officials said the policy was needed to secure the border, but it was ended in June after images of separated youngsters held in cage-like detention facilities sparked a furor both at home and abroad. Testifying in her own defense on Monday, Okomo was asked by her attorney, Ron Kuby, whether she would repeat her protest under the same circumstances. She answered yes, adding, "As long as our children are being placed in cages, my moral values call for me to do something about it." This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Tomorrow's my big day. I'm going to go in for surgery, and hopefully you'll come along. Now, I do have to admit that I am in a bit of pain, so I'm really looking forward to this procedure. I think we're both going to find out that having surgery just isn't as scary as it sounds.
We're covering our own Jim Haggerty's kidney stone removal surgery, and his surgery is now just minutes away. So, Dr. Atka, tell us what precautions we would take to prevent us from getting kidney stones.
Always stay hydrated. Water helps the kidneys break the stuff down.
Hear that, Jim? More water.
What?
More water. Maybe we should replace your coffee.
Please go away. Please. Ow, no.
That's a camera they're going to use to film the whole surgery from inside Jim's body,
Yes, that's going to
right?
be pushed into Jim's urethra as well. Now, normally they wouldn't do this. This is purely for the benefit of us watching it on TV.
All right, stick with us because first he's going to pop into the children's ward to cheer up some youngsters suffering from terminal illnesses.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, and we're kicking off another hour here of fun, and you can call in and join us, talk about whatever you want. We are discussing right now the Donald Trump allegations coming out of a court filing by the FBI's special prosecutor or special investigator, I guess, special counsel. Anyway, this Robert Mueller guy alleging 5 what they call interlocking Trump-Russia conspiracies. And they say that Trump and his campaign and people connected with him were conspiring with the Russian Federation and Vladimir Putin himself to somehow intervene in the election. And all they've really come up with that I've seen is that the Russians bought advertising, which I just don't consider that to be a big deal at all. I don't like Trump. Okay, just to make it clear, I'm not a Trump fan or anything like that. I find him amusing, but in the same way that I found it amusing when George Bush tried to push the door that you had to pull, those sorts of things. I find those things amusing.
You should put food on your family.
Yeah. Or when Trump tried to walk into Air Force One with an open umbrella and he couldn't fit it through the door, so he just drops it rather than closing the umbrella. And
well, did somebody come take care of it?
I don't know. You didn't see the video
Plan
that
worked.
far. But anyway, going on here with more of these allegations, of course, you can bring up anything you want, and the toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. They also apparently claim that Trump was involved in building a Trump Tower in Moscow, which requires, allegedly, the approval of Vladimir Putin himself. So that's allegation number 2 is that there was a Trump Tower project, which is apparently contra to what Trump was actually claiming during his campaign, where he was claiming that he didn't have any business in Russia. Number 3 here was that they were currying favor with Russia, which they had to do in order to get their Trump Tower. Number 4 is hiding the conspiracies. Donald Trump, his campaign, this is, by the way, from Forbes.com. They read the court filing by the FBI, and that's where they're getting these from. Donald Trump, his campaign, his organization, and his associates illegally... They keep saying that over and over again, by the way, the same sort of phrase of Donald Trump, his campaign, his organization, and his associates illegally conspired to hide 1, 2, and 3 from the American people and to lie about them to Congress. According to the court filing, this was done, quote, in order to, 1, minimize links between the Moscow Project and Donald Trump, and 2, give the false impression that the Moscow Project had ended before the Iowa caucus and the first presidential primaries in hopes of limiting the ongoing Russia investigations being conducted by Congress and the special counsel's office. So they're saying they hid that they were doing all these things. And then there's number 5.
I know that Trump turned over running of his hotel empire or something to his kids. I don't know when that was done, but
because he was going to be president is the idea.
Yeah, I mean, would it be a problem if he had talked to Russia, days before the Iowa caucus and then turned it all over and maybe advised his son-in-law or daughter or whatever? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, is Trump not allowed to build a hotel in Moscow? Is Trump, would it have been okay if Trump was building a hotel in India or Trump was building a hotel in, Hong Kong or something like that? Is it just because it's Russia, that particular plot of land, because the government there is particularly distasteful, and so therefore we should be, shocked by this?
Clearly we are supposed to be shocked by this.
Number 5, here's the 5th of the 5 alleged interlocking conspiracies. Enabling hard compromat, Kompromat. which I suspect is a Russian word here, through Donald Trump's lies to the American people, of which the Russian Federation was aware, Donald Trump made the U.S. presidency a potential victim of blackmail, a.k.a. compromat, at the hands of the Russian Federation, and in doing so, illegally compromised the legitimate interests of the American people.
All right.
So that's the claim here, is that Trump was building a hotel or dealing with the Russian government to try to build a hotel in Moscow, that he hid that ostensibly from the American people during his presidential campaign.
I think they've clearly shown that he definitely said that he was not dealing with Russians and that he was not building a hotel and all that stuff.
It seems like had Trump actually been honest about that, then there wouldn't have been any blackmail potential, right? So that's what they're saying here. Because Trump lied, that gives the Russian government the ability to blackmail him and reveal his lies if necessary, or prove that he was lying. Well, now it's been allegedly proven that he was lying anyway. And had he just simply said, yeah, we're building a hotel in Russia, so
Obama,
that would have solved the problem, right?
Obama said that he was going to get those guys out of Guantanamo and shut it down.
He never did.
That didn't happen. Is that a lie?
Well, it's a promise, right? Well, politicians make promises all the time.
So a promise that you don't keep is acceptable as far as a politician goes. That form of that form of lie is acceptable.
Yeah.
That form of dishonesty is acceptable. However, the form of dishonesty where you give some false picture about something that has happened or is happening, not acceptable. Okay?
Yeah. So then they have like this timeline showing all these allegations, and the question that Forbes asks here, is this the beginning of the end for Trump?
I don't know the answer to that, but the breathlessness that surrounds all of this seems overblown to me.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there.
I mean, that it's Democrats, you sound like the Republicans when they say the word Benghazi.
Let's go to Sarah. She's in New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Johnson, and Mark. Hello.
Yes. People are afraid of marijuana legalization because of the drug driving. They're supposed to have horrible driving with marijuana.
I've heard that, but best I can tell, it's just not true. The studies have been done.
Yeah, legalizing marijuana doesn't make it more likely that people are going to be on the road while high. They're already doing that.
But I live here in New Mexico. We have one of the worst drivers and drunk drivers. So, I mean, what difference does it make? Because we're about to legalize marijuana here. Because
really,
we have the state senators. They're all going Democrat, so we're going to legalize marijuana. So what's the big hype about it? And also,
well, it's just fear mongering, Sarah. People who don't like marijuana will try to bring up everything under the sun that they can think of to try to delegitimize any efforts to legalize cannabis because they're afraid of marijuana for some reason. They think it's bad. They don't want people to do it. And
a lot of times it's the medical marijuana industry and the alcohol industry that want to keep it illegal because they feel like they're going to lose out in profits.
Yeah, like that. We got plenty of drunk drivers here, and then they should be more concerned about sober drivers that speed and red stop signs and things like that.
Well, I think there's a legitimate concern about drunk drivers. I mean, that's certainly a concern, but I think you make a good point, Sarah, and that is that there are plenty of drunk drivers on the roads, even though it's illegal to drive while drunk. Plenty of people will speed, even though it's illegal to speed, and so the same thing will be true of cannabis.
Are they going to be able to differentiate, though, between, THC marijuana and CBD from hemp in people who are only regularly consuming CBD?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not sure about the tests and how accurate they are or what, because we know that they will frequently, somebody will test positive for cannabis even if it's been a week or two since they've used it, so they're not under the influence of it anymore.
And
still
CBD also is not even a hallucinogen in the first, or hallucinogen, not even. I mean, I don't want to say that it's not psychoactive, but it's not going to get you high.
Yeah.
So
I've taken quite a bit of CBD at once for joint pain, and I did not notice at all any sort of reaction. Yeah, sorry.
Thank you, Sarah, for the call tonight. So, yeah, this is just fear-mongering on the part of these essentially prohibitionists that want to continue with prohibition, acting as though somehow the roads will be more dangerous if marijuana is legal, and there's just no evidence for it. Even on top of that, the studies show that even those who are using cannabis are actually statistically about the same as far as their safety is concerned as people who are sober. And because most of them, if they are impaired in some way, will know they are, and they'll compensate for that or not drive at all.
If the anti-marijuana people cared about safety, they'd legalize marijuana in prisons because it would make it safer for prison guards. They don't care about safety.
That's true. There's more on the way, and this is Free Talk Live.
Ike was such a sweet, lovable animal, and people would want to pet him, and they'd come up and they'd get close to him, and it would be this instant, oh! My dad didn't want to touch him. It's like, ooh, get the stinky dog away from me.
Even after we'd give her a bath, she would still stink.
Very stinky, both bad breath and bad gas. I asked the vet, and he said some dogs are just stinky.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
The digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
The ingredients convinced me that it was definitely worth trying. After about a week, he started smelling normal. My husband and I were really kind of astonished.
Dinovite is nutrition.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.Global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.Global. Drop your personal crypto wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.Global. That's AnyPay.Global.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free to bring up what you want. Take control of the airwaves here at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Coming up, Johnson, you've got a story about lab-grown meat and religious objections to eating certain types of meat. That's, I understand it. I have not read the piece, but it sounds very interesting. Causing a quandary, a bit of a difficult situation for some in certain religions. You'll tell us about that. Also, we'll take your calls and thoughts. If you want to share whatever's on your mind, you can do that. Take control of the airwaves here on Free Talk Live. Plus, Mark, you've got a story about a California politician who's been arrested for abusing their child.
Correct.
Spanking, was it?
That's
correct.
I
think. And so we can get into that, too. Or you can bring up anything at 855-450-FREE. Join us on our Discord server over at discord.lrn.fm, where you can hop into one of our Discord on-air call-in line rooms, and then you'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio. Now, if you got more to say on Trump, you're welcome to do that. That article, by the way, I didn't even go halfway through. It's a very exhaustive piece claiming that, Donald Trump is the worst president ever and that this is such a big fraud. And, I mean, there's definitely fraud involved, but what's new? He's a presidential person. I mean, what president hasn't been a liar? Johnson, you were sort of suggesting that earlier by quoting George H.W. Bush, among other presidents.
Obama, Clinton. I mean,
I didn't have sex with that woman, right? Wasn't that one of the lines?
Sexual relations.
Sexual relations. There you go.
Define
sexual is
yeah.
So these are slimy people, and Donald Trump is just as much of a liar as any of the rest of them. Does that mean he should be removed from office? And would it matter if he were? As you pointed out, Mark, we're already more than halfway through his 4 years at this point. They're going to begin the process of the 2020 elections, next year? I mean, you're going to start hearing all about the candidates.
I suspect you're going to start hearing it now.
Yeah.
I mean,
right after the holidays.
Yeah, I suspect. Yeah, I think people are holding off for the holidays, and then the smart monies and the people who begin campaigning early. So now we should begin seeing trotted out the rogues gallery.
Yep.
I don't say that nicely, and I'm not using it as just an offhand term. Seriously, rogues, the kind of people that will stab you in the back alley in order to get what they want. The rogues gallery of candidates will be trotted out before us, and we're to choose from among them. Now, I don't know whether Trump will make it, will run for another. I have no idea what's going to happen.
I mean, he already filed, right? Wasn't Trump the first candidate to file with the FEC for 2020? So he's already shown his intention to run again. And now he's just going to have some splaining to do. He's going to have to somehow, likely he will have to address this as to why, he said one thing about the hotel in Moscow and then, or denied it, or denied any dealings in Russia, and then it turns out, well, actually he did have some dealings in Russia. Okay. And if he can get through that, if he can get through the Russian primary, the Republican primary, then maybe he can win election again. Because I think most people probably don't care that much.
No, I don't think they do. I think that the FBI cares deeply, though.
Mm-hmm.
The FBI has been...
Why doesn't he fire this guy?
He can.
Isn't he the top administrator? Isn't Trump in charge of the executive branch of government?
I think he wanted one of his underlings to do it, and they wouldn't do it. And that's why he keeps firing them.
Oh, I see. I wonder why they're so cowardly. I wonder why they won't just do his bidding.
Why would they? They don't want to be the ones that look. They're next on the list of people who are going. I mean, it's a lot of people who've been arrested in this. The closer you get to Trump, the more likely you are to be arrested.
To get arrested?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess his longtime attorney got arrested and apparently turned against Trump.
Sure.
There was some news articles about that this week as well, claiming how sorry he is.
He's going to jail.
Yeah, prison, I think.
Well, yes. By prison, and by jail, I mean prison.
Yeah. So there you go.
The very best prison.
It's really probably not going to be a bad prison.
It's huge.
Huge.
It's probably not going to be a bad prison, that's for sure.
All right, so if there's more to say about that, please feel free to join us here. If you think he's going down, then explain why. If he does go down, it's not like that's going to change anything. Okay,
Right.
so then Mike Pence gets in.
Well, it happens.
That's probably worse.
It happens in Illinois all the time. I mean,
where the governors go to jail.
right?
To
Like I think at one time they had 3 governors in prison.
They have a special wing, a gubernatorial wing in the prison.
And they all do crack together.
What do I care?
Right? I mean, isn't that what half of them gone down for?
I don't know. In Illinois?
Yeah.
They were smoking
like
crack?
Chicago mayor is like, yeah, there's some
D.C. mayor got
DC
busted
mayor,
with
yeah.
crack. And the Toronto mayor.
Yeah, the Toronto mayor was
he
quite
got
a prize.
videoed.
Yeah, quite a
smoking
prize.
crack. He ended up dying, by the way, that guy.
Yeah, I believe his brother's in politics though.
Yes,
the
that's
family's
correct.
still going.
That's correct, yeah. All right. So that's the story there. Let's get into the lab-grown meat, Johnson.
Sure.
Where's it coming from? What's
Wall
the story?
Street Journal. The title here is "The Emergence of Lab-Grown Meat Poses New Questions for Religious Leaders."
Before you go on, Googling Illinois governor. You don't have to get all the way through the word. The fourth option is Illinois governors in prison.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even this is happening a lot.
Yeah, it does. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So what about this?
Lab-grown meat prompts rabbis to consider the impossible: kosher bacon.
Yep. Because
they have those kosher hot dogs now, right? I mean, so
well, those are made with like turkey or something,
beef,
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Or beef.
Lab-grown meat is raising new questions for religious leaders, including Rabbi Yuval Cherlo, who is considering whether meat grown from animal cells in a petri dish will fit into the kosher tradition. Lab-grown meat.
I don't see how it couldn't. Just what I understand
Isn't it still coming from a pig, right? I mean, even though
if they're the cells, they're coming from pig cells.
It's go on.
Yeah. Lab-grown meat is becoming closer to a reality. Several startups are already developing cell-cultured meat based on animals grown in a petri dish. Although no product is yet commercially available, companies have produced prototypes for chicken nuggets, burgers, and most recently, steak that resemble conventional meat on the cellular level. But this new technology poses new questions for people who typically avoid meat for religious or ethical reasons. Lab-grown meat has sparked a debate among rabbis in Israel about whether cell-cultured is the same as conventional meat and should fall under the same guidelines for keeping kosher.
There's huge differences, obviously, right? Because you didn't have to slaughter anything. It didn't actually come from
something with a cloven hoof,
a living thing. So this is the prohibition, right? The Muslims, the Jews, and is it certain Christians who follow that?
I can't
that
speak to the Muslims. I think they're just prohibited from eating pig. Which
what about the shellfish thing? Wasn't that one of them?
Shellfish is Jews.
Okay. But they all came from the Abrahamic tradition, so is it the Muslims are okay with shellfish, even though it was prohibited by God at some point?
Well, for one, it depends on which Muslim we're talking about, because some of them stay halal and others just don't eat certain things.
Well, there's a disagreement about it, and there is a conversation. Also, definitely there are new questions about lab meat.
Is this your rabbi impression?
Rabbi Yuval Cherlo. An expert on kosher traditions and bioethics.
We're going to get into it further here. Your calls and thoughts are welcome. Maybe you are one of these religious folks who follows these traditions, and you've got an opinion. You're welcome to weigh in, share that with us. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And you can bring up whatever you want here on Free Talk Live.
L'chaim.
Looking for that edge during those intimate moments? We see many ads for enhancement, but the side effects include death. At GCN Team, we should change the Healthy Body, Brain, and Heart Pack to the Healthy Libido Pack. The brain and heart are not the only organs that require a healthy vascular system. For proper blood flow at the right moment, go to GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
We know you've had Dragon's Breath in the morning, but you've got to experience Dragon's Breath at night. Wolf Hill Ammo's Dragon's Breath, an incendiary shotgun round in 12 gauge, 20 gauge, and a 410 with an amazing muzzle flash and a fireball that launches up to 125 yards. Pure fun to shoot. At Wolf Hill Ammo, we love shotguns and offer the best specialty shotgun ammo on the market. Visit wolfhillammo.com to see our large selection of specialty shotgun ammo at great prices with flat rate shipping. wolfhillammo.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. One of the things that has always been confusing about a lot of the world religions is the arbitrariness, it seems, of, you can't eat that, but you can eat that. You can eat that beast over there, but you can't eat that beast over there, because cloven hoofs, you said, Mark, apparently is one of the...
Cloven hoofs that don't chew their cud.
Cud is what?
It's rumatids have more than one stomach. They have to, they sort of bring back up the grass that they've eaten and they chew it again. It's part of the digestion process.
So it's okay to eat the thing that does chew its own food, or
and has a cloven hoof.
It's okay to eat those?
Yes.
It's not okay to eat a thing that doesn't chew.
That has a cloven hoof and does not chew.
I see.
I.e., a pig.
Right. Because God said so, ostensibly, according to whatever.
Well, I mean, once you have the
about.
main line to God, You can then hand down any prescriptions you want.
I'm sure it had nothing to do with like a swine flu or something back in, the time when people were, barely out of caves and, making up this rule, somebody who had
then why
some
can't
sort of medicinal knowledge and sort of made this rule to say that it came from God in order to inspire people to like, hey, don't eat this because you're going to get a disease. And they couldn't just tell people that because they were too stupid. So they made it come from God. And
you're presuming this makes sense. Why do they not allow you to mix fabrics? Why can't Jews mix fabrics?
Who knows? Maybe they were getting some kind of a rash.
Sounds.
I didn't know they couldn't. So you have to have the same exact fabric on at all times?
Yeah, you can't wear cottons and polyesters together.
Yeah. So like a mixed fabric shirt would be a no-no then? Anything with a mix of
That's
cotton
my understanding,
and
yes.
nylon
In fact, you will burn in hellfire for eternity.
Yeah.
Wow. I learn something new every night.
Basically, if you're a modern Christian and you were to read the old school Bible, just you're dead. It's over for you.
Well, the Christians can always ask for forgiveness, right?
Well, the
Catholics can.
And Acts, supposedly there was a miracle that made it so the Christians can, the goy that get involved in this new Abrahamic religion, that they didn't have to follow the old rules. Huh. They were a bunch of dumb rules. There's still a bunch of dumb rules 2,000 years later.
Yeah. And we're talking about apparently rabbis are arguing over whether or not cell-grown or lab-grown meat, which is essentially, not slaughtered from an animal. It's grown in a lab. They've given evidence of apparently steak has been reproduced now. Chicken nuggets, I think, were reproduced. You pointed out that the Wall Street Journal says that there's no commercial product available yet.
Yeah, it's stupidly expensive still.
But they're working on it.
But the vegans, I think, have the worst argument here. Their whole thing is ethical. Basically, it's bad to eat meat. However, because it's taken because animals are tortured or whatever in the process. Well, once they aren't, then is it okay? And the best I've heard out of vegans at this point is it's just it's not healthy to eat meat. You shouldn't eat meat. And plus, who would take lab-grown meat and eat it? Who would do that?
I would.
The kind of person who would go to the store and eat meat made from vegetables.
Now, look, I'm not an expert on these things, but if you're growing your meat in a lab, wouldn't you then therefore be able to cut down the amount of like fatty pieces in there? That's the annoying part about meat, right? You got to cut. I mean, unless you eat every bit of fat that's on your piece of meat. I tend to not like chewing on fat, so I will cut away the meat from the fat. Wouldn't they be able to just like exclude the fat parts from being grown? Sure. Wouldn't this be essentially a perfect, filet mignon style steak? If you were to get a lab-grown steak, wouldn't it be like the best cut of steak you've ever had, in theory?
Well, presuming you like filet.
Okay, it's purportedly the best cut of
some people are really
steak,
into
right?
that gristle. They like the fat content and the marbling.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people that are into the marbling. I'm with you. I'm not. I'm a filet guy myself.
Yeah. Chuck eyes. It's the way to go.
You're saying that's the best type of meat? So, but I mean, imagine they'll be able to do it all. I'm just guessing here, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're starting it from zero or whatever cellular level you're starting it at, you want to grow some fat and grow some fat. Otherwise, grow a nice piece of meat without any fat. You've got this story here, Johnson, relatively short piece from the Wall Street Journal, but it included a video, and so we're going to play that because they actually interview this rabbi.
How horribly I botched the accent.
All right, here we go. We got the video here from the Wall Street Journal on lab-grown meat.
Meats that are made in a laboratory that don't come from animals but are meat. That's something new under the sun.
All of us agree it's very important. I mean, the price of the current meat industry is too high.
The price?
Really? It seems pretty affordable to me when you go to the grocery store. It doesn't seem like meat's particularly expensive. I mean, there's the expensive cuts of it, but if you want to get beef or chicken,
range from like $2 to like $8 a pound, roughly. Like if you're going for an expensive steak, you're going up to the $8. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot higher. Like Wagyu beef or something like that. But
pork, chicken, ground beef. These things don't cost a lot of money.
Right. You can get pork for as little as 79 cents a pound if you look for. You're going to need to keep a freezer so that you can buy it at certain times a year and keep it or whatever. But yeah, it can be done.
I mean, it depends on your perspective. If you're trying to eliminate world hunger, then you could start talking about bringing down those prices considerably.
Well, I mean, I expect lab-grown meat is going to bring down prices. You're saying it's expensive now, but that's because it's being developed, right? So over time.
Let's not forget the cost of removing livestock from the environment. What they found is that livestock trampling on crop areas is what retains ground cover in prevents droughts, prevents the things turning arid and all that other stuff.
Well, there's also a lot of The other thing that's interesting is that the whole reason why a lot of these animals even exist in the first place is because we farm them.
Sure.
If we lose the reason to do that, like how soon will cows go extinct?
That's a great point. I mean, I imagine lab-grown milk would be a thing, too. If you can grow the meat, shouldn't you be able to grow the milk? I mean, I don't know. I'm not a scientist, so I'm just asking. I'm just asking. By the way, Gene the Christian Anarchist asks an interesting question in our Discord chat over at discord.lrn.fm. He says, how about lab-grown human meat? Does that make you a cannibal if you eat it?
Well, I hadn't considered that.
Mm-hmm. Well, does it make you a cannibal if you eat lab-grown human meat?
It's a bad idea, probably because diseases can pass more easily through there. The answer to the question, no.
Diseases can pass more easily human meat to human.
Right. So what
consumer?
happens if the lab somehow gets infected? Right. You've got the 1912 yellow fever epidemic somehow gets mixed in with the lab-grown human meat that you're talking about here, and then gets sent out to stores. Whammo bammo, everybody's dead.
So, okay, I mean, I don't know a whole lot about communicable diseases. Are you saying that you would catch a disease from cooked meat?
I would think
you can.
You're going to handle raw meat, but I would presume you could too. I think that Crutchfield-Jacobs disease came through.
Mad cow disease.
Yeah, came through cooked meat.
No kidding. Huh. How about that? All right, so I would say no, you would not be a cannibal in that particular case. But
according to the dictionary definition, there are two definitions.
Of cannibal?
A person who eats the flesh of other human beings, in which case I think it would fail that definition because it would not be a human being. However, there is a second definition, an animal that feeds on flesh of its own species.
And it fits that one, huh?
It fits that one for sure, doesn't it?
So let's continue here. This is with the rabbi.
Price, I'm not talking only about money. I'm not talking about only the finance. It's the sources of water it demands, the fact that the pollution from the industry. So it's a great thing to find ways to feed the world. It's new, and our tradition, the Jewish tradition, is the main define of it is disagreements and conversations. They always say when there are two Jews, there are three opinions. Now, there is a conversation about two things. One is, what will be the define of this cell that was expanded or was developed in the lab? Some rabbi says it's still meat because the first cell was meat, so therefore it's duplicated, but it's...
Meaning from an animal.
Right.
I mean, obviously it's meat. More coming up here with the rabbis arguing over what to do about lab-grown meat. Is this going to be a new religious schism? It's Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynavite.
Pick up 2 bottles of Super Mega Fish Oil.
Get the 3rd bottle free. Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Dogs love it. Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
Want revenge on the common housefly?
Well, after 10,000 years, someone has finally come up with a better way. The Bug Assault, a miniaturized shotgun, which utilizes ordinary table salt as ammunition. Non-toxic and no batteries required. So much fun, you'll forget you have a wife and kids. Makes the perfect stocking stuffer. Get your Bug Assault today and save $10 on the Bug Beam Laser Combo, only at bugassault.com.
We know you've had Dragon's Breath in the morning, but you've got to experience Dragon's Breath at night. Wolf Hill Ammo's Dragon's Breath, an incendiary shotgun round in 12 gauge, 20 gauge, and a 410 with an amazing muzzle flash and a fireball that launches up to 125 yards. Pure fun to shoot. At Wolf Hill Ammo, we love shotguns and offer the best specialty shotgun ammo on the market. Visit wolfhillammo.com to see our large selection of specialty shotgun ammo at great prices with flat rate shipping. wolfhillammo.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. The LRN.FM's social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Toll-free number here. If you want to join us, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
Former CIA officer and New York Times best-selling author Jason Hansen is giving away a book that covers the 37 items you must have to survive a crisis. Things that can save your life in an economic collapse or grid-down event at freeescapebook.com. The Escape Bag Blueprint, 37 items you must have to survive a crisis, is free for a limited time at freeescapebook.com. These 37 items don't come from some internet list. Instead, these items come from Jason's experience as a CIA officer where he had escape bags. In his Free Escape book, he also gives advice on what are the best guns, knives, flashlights, and water filters to have in an economic collapse or grid-down event. Get your copy at freeescapebook.com. freeescapebook.com.
All right, so we're talking about different religions, specifically in this case the Jewish religion, but they're not the only ones that would be affected by this. It's just who they happen to go and interview. The Wall Street Journal looking at the newfound concept of lab-grown meat.
Yes, I believe that there are several foods that are not halal. That are
that's Muslim, yep.
Correct. And so this lab-grown meat is going to be challenging people in these religions to come up with an answer. And it sounds like, as is typical with religions, they don't agree. Within the religion, rabbis in the Jewish religion are arguing.
It's fine. It's fine.
About whether or not it's okay to consume lab-grown meat of what are they not allowed to eat? Pork?
Yeah.
Is that a Jewish thing?
Right.
So both Jewish and Muslim people cannot eat pork. That's a similarity between the
Yes,
two?
but it's not for the same reasons.
Really?
Jewish people can't eat it because it has a cloven hoof and does not chew its cud. Muslims can't eat it because they can't eat the flesh of a pig.
Because it's unclean.
I'm not sure about unclean. I'm not sure they use that term. Jews definitely use that term.
So we're going to continue here. This is the interview with Rabbi Yuval Cherlo over at the Wall Street Journal. We'll do that here in moments. But first, we go to Brad. He's calling us from Florida, listening online via the TuneIn app. Go ahead. We have Brad in Florida.
Oh, hi. Yes, I'm not Brad. I'm Rev, so that's okay.
Sorry, Rev.
That's fine. Yeah, just the whole meat eating thing is what this kind of reminded me of, and just wanted to say, like, it's very subjective, all the moral arguments and the intricacies about eating meat versus not. But real quick, like, my stance on it is that I really don't care. Like, I don't feel any kind of moral obligation to not eat animals. I think it's best to not torture them for fun or anything like that, but to eat them as far as like a practical application, because, and one thing is that just because we're more intelligent and we're higher level animals than them, that doesn't make the lower animals, even if they can feel empathy to some extent, that doesn't make them any less of a-holes like when they kill each other. Like cats even, will torture mice and birds for fun sometimes and kill them even when they're not hungry. So it's like, why should we feel morally obligated to that,
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I mean, I guess I agree with you that to torture a thing is pretty sick, right? That's pretty crazy. But I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with just as much of a humane killing as possible. Because didn't haven't some studies found that plants have some kind of feeling as well, like that?
I would have to go back and look, but I know, and I found the YouTube video at one point. I know that I saw some kind of study back on PBS, many years ago, that basically they killed a fly in one room and saw the reaction of the plant in another room. So, there's some kind of thing surrounding that, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, there's some kind of response. I'd have to look it up, too. It's obviously not the same as pain or anything like that, but it's some kind of sensory response. But I just see that as another way to virtue signal. I mean, we're all guilty of virtue signaling a little bit since we all have some kind of values, I suppose. But I remember PETA and stuff like that when I was little in the 90s, and I know these groups are still around, but some of these a-holes, and again, without cursing, made it like, oh, your life is worth just as much as that rabbit's. And for anybody saying that, I'd like to, toss their kids into a meat grinder and be like, there you go. It's no different than a rabbit,
Well, they wouldn't throw the rabbit in the meat grinder, so
right.
That's what they're.
Well, yeah. No, I know. You know what I'm saying. It's just another punching left.
Yeah, it's silly.
But,
Rev,
thank you, guys.
Good call. Thanks for the call. Thanks for making it. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. Could you have kosher pork if it were lab-grown? The rabbi here is pointing out that he's kind of arguing from the other side. He's the only interviewee here, so he's kind of trying to make the points that the people who are on the other side are making, saying that, well, if you're starting from the cell of an animal, it's still part of an animal, and so therefore whatever you grow from that cell is still originated from that animal that they're not allowed to eat, so therefore it's not acceptable, would be what one side says.
Right, he says some rabbis feel that way.
Right, so let's continue with the interview here from the Wall Street Journal.
Meat, and some rabbis will say, and I feel the same, I think the same, that once it's so far from the original cell, so therefore it's not meat anymore. It's a artificial something. Now, you can call it whatever you want, but it's not meat. Now, that has consequences on the question, first of all, can you eat it with milk? And this is the easy question. The more complicated question is, can you produce it from pork?
So, lab-grown meat, could you have a cheesesteak?
Depends who you ask. As I said,
I'm asking you.
My opinion.
So hold on before we go on. Now, what he's asking here is can you mix dairy with lab-grown meat
Or do they have a prohibition on dairy?
Mixing dairy and meat. So a cheeseburger is unacceptable, or a hamburger, and with a glass of milk. You need to wait 2 hours between dairy and meat. So I just want to make sure
digestion
right.
Okay.
Or whatever. I just want to make sure that we're clear on why he's saying that. So a Philly cheesesteak is beef, but it has cheese on it. So they can have beef. Yeah. They can't have cheese. They can have some kind of fake cheese.
Right.
But who
now
wants
he's saying it's not meat, and I got to disagree. I mean, it's meat, right? Yeah. They're growing meat in a lab. It's still meat. It's just not meat they slaughtered from an animal. That's the difference.
Well, the one might define meat as the flesh
which was slaughtered from
of
an
a
animal.
living animal. And if it is not that,
so it's
then
artificial
it is
meat.
Not that.
You could say it's artificial meat then.
I think that anything that gets these stupid Bronze Age religions to stop worrying about the kind of food that go ahead and let's talk about some real problems. How about getting your people to stop using violence against each other? Let's talk about that. Stop worrying about the gay folks. Stop worrying about the food people eat. Get off your high horses. You've got a dumb old religion anyway. I don't care whether it's Muslims, Jews, Christians, Zoroastrianism, which, by the way, is interesting to me, and any of it. It's all garbage.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely,
yes. Yeah, it's not meat anymore. It's so far from the original source, so therefore I don't consider it as meat whatsoever. I assume that most of the rabbis will prefer a more moderate opinion and will say, you know what, maybe you're right, but it's better to say, let's not take the risk.
What I will say for Judaism is that, the rabbis disagree and they allow their parishioners to disagree. You could conceivably walk into a synagogue and say, I just don't agree with those rules. You should back up your argument as to why, but you don't have to just, you don't have to just say, okay, that's the way it is. In many churches I've been in, if you disagree with the preacher, it's a real problem.
Hey, don't eat it with cheese, but you can eat it as a kosher production.
So, pork, that's a different issue. Lab-grown pork chop, you wouldn't touch it?
Personally, I think that we should eat it. I think we are permitted to eat it. My opinion, it lost its original identity.
When we're talking about taking cells from animals, growing them in a bioreactor, in a laboratory, do you think God would have any problem with us doing that?
No. I'm sure that from the first chapter in the Bible, where God said that we are created in God's image, actually this is our responsibility, and I will say even to the other side, we must do that. We must do that in order to keep this world. We must do that in order to feed the expanding numbers of human beings in the world, to reduce pollution, and to do all the good things. It's part of our responsibility. I don't have any doubts that the word should be must do it and not only permitted to do that.
Well, all right. Interesting.
There you go.
There you go, indeed. Just the beginning of what is going to be a conversation that will likely continue within people's religion, between people, that will likely divide people
for hundreds of years.
I mean, what if you take pork and you create you mix it with some other DNA to create a new type of animal?
That's another good question. More coming up here.
That cusp of that too, and then they grow the cells from that.
This is Free Talk Live. Hour 3's next. You can join us.
Trading involves financial risk and is not suitable for all investors.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. Former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. Join online at www.acs2018.com. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars.
To join the American Cannabis Summit, visit acs2018.com or text JOIN to 76280. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Text JOIN to 76280. Text JOIN to 76280 now.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, December 18th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.65 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,249 per ounce. Zen is trading at $5, and the average price of Bitcoin is $3,539. Antiwar.com reports, speaking on Monday, U.S. Special Envoy James Jeffrey confirmed that the U.S. is no longer demanding regime change in Syria and is not actively trying to force Syrian President Bashar Assad from office. That said, the American goal is a regime that is fundamentally different, even if it includes Assad. Jeffrey said Assad must accept such a compromise because he has not yet won the Syrian war. The U.S. has long demanded regime change as part of the end to the Syrian war, and even in staying in Syria militarily, officials have conditioned leaving on a successful transition and insisted that Assad could not be involved. Now there's resignation that Assad will stay, but Jeffrey says the U.S. and its allies are prepared to withhold any aid to reconstruct Syria unless there is some assurance that the changes they are demanding are implemented. Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform and generate income from them. This will allow Horizon to bring thousands of real-life services to the community. Services that provide freedom, utility, and privacy. HORIZEN.global. UPI reports nearly 3 in 10 Americans are delaying healthcare treatments because of their cost, according to a new Gallup survey released on Monday. Gallup's annual health and healthcare survey found 29% postponed treatments for the cost. It said more than half of them reported a serious or somewhat serious medical illness or condition, a figure equivalent to 19% of all U.S. adults. The share of Americans who delayed treatment is consistent with data in recent polls. In 1991, 22% of respondents put off medical treatment, and an average of 24% delayed care between 2001 and 2004. The current rate of 29% has remained steady in years since. Delayed treatment depends on available health insurance, another consistent finding. Gallup found that those with no coverage are more likely to forego treatment, with over half of the respondents in that category reporting a delay. The report found those enrolled in Medicare or Medicaid are least likely to wait. The poll results said Americans with health insurance are still often responsible for deductibles, copayments, and other out-of-pocket costs. While it reduces demand for healthcare services, it can prevent many people from initiating treatment for medical conditions. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports a woman who climbed the Statue of Liberty's stone pedestal to protest U.S. immigration policy declared in federal court on Monday she would do it again to call attention to the plight of families separated at the border and was found guilty of trespassing. Therese Patricia Okamo was also convicted of interfering with governmental administration and disorderly conduct before a U.S. magistrate judge in New York City. Each misdemeanor carries a maximum sentence of 6 months in jail, according to Nicholas Biasi, a spokesman for the U.S. Attorney's Office in New York. back. Okomo, a native of the Democratic Republic of Congo, who the New York Daily News said became a U.S. citizen in 2016, remains free pending her sentencing on March 5th. In a statement announcing the guilty verdict, U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Berman said Okomo's actions went well beyond peaceable protest. Berman said it was a crime that put people at grave risk, calling her conduct dangerous and reckless. Okomo was arrested on July 4th after she scaled the base of the statue, and after not complying with police for 3 hours, police evacuated the landmark in the midst of the U.S. Independence Day holiday. She and her lawyer later said her act of civil disobedience was primarily a demonstration against the Trump administration's policy of separating migrant children from parents who were caught crossing the U.S. border illegally. Administration officials said the policy was needed to secure the border, but it was ended in June after images of separated youngsters held in cage-like detention facilities sparked a furor both at home and abroad. Testifying in her own defense on Monday, Okomo was asked by her attorney, Ron Kuby, whether she would repeat her protest under the same circumstances. She answered yes, adding, "As long as our children are being placed in cages, my moral values call for me to do something about it." This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Millions of Americans are irrationally feared dead following a train derailment near Wilmington, Delaware.
Less than 200 people were aboard the train, but because no names have been released yet, countless more are being imagined trapped inside the wreckage by worried parents and overly anxious friends.
And the list of imagined victims is growing by the minute. From brothers-in-law who live in Delaware, who usually drive but could possibly have been on that train, to friends who went to Delaware on a business trip and may have been next to the tracks for some reason when the train derailed.
And sadly, we're getting reports that even those who have never been to Delaware are now also among those irrationally thought killed.
Oh, and we are just now getting word from Homeland Security that they're now warning people their fears may spiral into a wholly new fear that their loved ones never existed at all and are just byproducts of a drug-induced lucid dream in which their consciousness is currently imprisoned.
Such a shame, since this is reality.
There is nothing beyond this to believe otherwise. It would be folly.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want. On the way here tonight, Mark's got a story to share about a politician being arrested for child abuse, or what I would consider child abuse. Some people don't consider spanking child abuse. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
You bring up anything that you want, though. We were just talking about lab-grown meats and these religious belief systems that are being challenged by the existence, or the very soon existence, likely at your grocery store counter, of these lab-grown meats. You can't get them yet, but it's probably just a matter of within a few years, it seems like. I mean, they've already had some successful prototypes, even reproducing steak. So I think that's really exciting. I think that's it's an interesting development, and it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. What will people think about it? I mean, are we going to see meat just outside of the whole just idea of the religion, setting the religious beliefs aside, just meat eaters? Will there be a division amongst the meat eaters as well? The meat purists who insist on having an animal slaughtered in order to eat the meat from it, versus those who are like, I'll buy whatever's cheapest, versus those who refuse to eat anything that's slaughtered and will eat only lab-grown meat no matter what the cost.
I will eat lab-grown meat in order to try it at some point when it is commercially available.
Me too.
Really, regardless of the price.
Yeah. And I bet you there's going to be taste tests, blindfold taste tests where people can't tell the difference and or prefer the lab-grown.
I'd pay double for the lab-grown to try it.
Oh, to try it. Okay.
And then after that, I would begin paying attention to meat prices because I expect they will. What makes the most sense is that they're going to go after the cuts that cost the most per pound.
Have you guys ever had the Beyond Burger?
No.
What's that?
So the Beyond Burger is a vegetarian burger that is made from pea protein, and it is very interesting. It's
You've tried it?
Yeah, I have had it.
Where'd you get it?
It's very good.
Grocery store or an actual restaurant?
Restaurant that served it. But you can get them. They were carrying them for a time at the co-op, and they do sell out very quickly.
And how did it taste?
It was very good.
Did it taste like meat?
Yes. It was very close. And I've had some really good, actually, Bubba Burger has started making a veggie burger.
It's a frozen burger brand, right?
Yeah, it's a frozen burger brand. And they started making a veggie burger that's very good as well. But it did not have that one you can still tell it's a veggie burger. The Beyond Burger is the one it's the veggie meat that bleeds.
Oh yeah,
like a regular burger.
I've seen that ad.
Heard about it. That's the whole thing.
Was it like beet juice or something like that?
Something like that. So it bleeds like a regular burger, and then it also has smoke. I mean, you can kind of tell that it's a little bit got that artificial smoke taste to it, but it's very smoky and very meaty, and it's pretty good.
Let's go to Gene, the Christian anarchist. You're on the line there in Tennessee on our Discord on air call-in line room. Go ahead.
Hey guys, I didn't call to talk about vegetarian meat or meat substitutes, but I will mention that about 20 years ago in China, we had food from it's a restaurant run by a Buddhist conglomerate. Anyway, of course, they don't serve any meat, but they served some products there that tasted like meat, but they weren't, and they were pretty darn good actually. So, and that was 20 years ago.
The question is, under the right circumstance, would this, artificial meat, would it transubstantiate? That's my question.
Yeah.
Oh, what does that mean?
Transubstantiation?
Turned into the body of
water
Christ?
and wine, turns into the body and blood of Christ.
No, wait a minute. What's the Buddhism have anything to do with it here? According to my list, Gene, it says here there are no set prescriptions for food restrictions in Buddhism.
Well, but Buddhists don't believe in killing things, not even a insect.
Right.
Really?
So yeah. So how are you going to have meat if you don't believe in killing things?
Huh. It does say under the concept of ahisma / doing no harm, a lacto-vegetarian diet is followed by many Buddhists. But Buddhist monks have additional restrictions such as fasting and not eating solid foods after noon. But there's apparently no restriction on eating meat in Buddhism per se.
Okay, well, I'm not an expert on Buddhism. Anyway, that was just at that.
Read a couple books.
That temple. But what I called about is one of my topics, the Goonerman Goon Squad. And because I was comparing the different governments of the world, of course, I call them Goonermans, but I was looking at a post by Kim.com who went to New Zealand because he thought New Zealand was the best country on the planet and blah, blah, blah. Well,
he's not from there originally?
No, he's from Germany.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, he posted lately that he's come to the conclusion that the Goonerman Goon Squad in New Zealand is just as corrupt and bad as other Goonerman Goon Squads.
Surprise, surprise.
Yep.
Yeah, surprise, surprise. Of course, I could have told him that, and I'm sure we could have told him. Everybody here could have told him that. But it's interesting that because I think that's the greatest thing about the internet is people are actually waking up to this stuff. They're getting more information that was always hidden from people when they had to rely on books and word of mouth and all of that. So I see all of the governments of the world are the same basic evil. Now, some are more open about it than others, like North Korea, for instance, is a lot more open about it than New Zealand, but the basic bottom line of all of them is to steal as much wealth from everyone else and murder anyone who bothers to try to stop them. It's really the bottom line.
Well, I imagine he's a little burned by New Zealand. I just pulled up the latest news story from the summertime where a New Zealand court ruled that Kim.com can be extradited to the United States.
Right.
So after spending likely a lot of money and time fighting extradition out of New Zealand after the U.S. government came after him there, the New Zealand government ain't keeping him safe from the U.S., so I imagine he's pretty upset about that.
Well, that's the thing about the governments anyway, is they don't need to follow any rules. They write them down so that people think they're legitimate, but they don't need to follow them. Look at this guy, Kim.com, has never so much as stepped a foot in the United States, and yet they want to extradite him here for supposed violations of U.S. law. Well, he hasn't even been in the U.S. He's a German citizen. He was living in like Hong Kong and Australia, and had nothing to do with the U.S. government. So that people always say they fear anarchy, and I'm, of course, the Christian anarchist. I happen to love anarchy, but people say they don't like anarchy because there won't be any rules and the warlords will take over. Well, I tell people, you already have no rules and the warlords have already taken over. And we've always lived in anarchy because there is no legitimate government. There can't be. The only way they can be legitimate is if somebody gave them authority. And nobody can give them authority who doesn't possess authority to give. And so all governments forever, for the history of the world, have always been anarchy because they're nothing more than warlords taking over.
The very successful warlords who've managed to confuse people and flummox them into thinking that there's something besides warlords.
Right, and that, there's a certain level of stability that goes along with it too. People have an expectation of how they will be fleeced and bilked, and as long as they can have consistency in the prediction of the future as to how they're going to be fleeced and bilked, I think they're reasonably happy about that.
Well, warlords maintain stability by hanging people in the city square and lopping off heads, and they can maintain stability, certainly. Is that the way we want to live? That's the question. People say that it won't be safe living in anarchy, and I agree with that. I say yes, it's not going to be safe. You're going to have murders, you're going to have rapes, you're going to have robberies, but are you going to have any more murders, rapes, and robberies than you currently do with these creepy warlords that manage to send bombs that kill, thousands hundreds at a time or whatever, and even in the case of the nuclear bombs, millions at a time. So,
Gene, thanks for the call tonight. Appreciate it as always. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Not sure when the extradition will happen of Kim Dotcom, but now apparently the New Zealand government saying that it can happen. I don't know if there's a further appeal. We can read more about it and share that with you. Coming up here, it's Free Talk Live.
From the second letter of Captain Mark. Any pirate knows that commerce is communication. Markets condense oceans of information into a single price. Innovations in communication are circumventing the scrutiny of the Crown. This signals a change in the coin of the realm. The Crown uses digital currency to surveil, censor, seize, and destroy wealth at will, so pirate currency must protect us from this weaponized money. We need to move funds further, faster, cheaper, and without third-party observation, basing decisions on an accelerating flow of information. So pirates require nearly instantaneous transactions with no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Most importantly, a pirate currency must preclude centralization. Otherwise, it will become another link in our chain to the Crown. A superior currency will result in the obsolescence of the coin of the realm and the extinction of the Crown itself. Trade above the grid. Join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com, pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on your screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
When do you want to spot that burglar? When he's casing your home or after he's in? Ask John, whose Blink camera alerted him of burglars trying to break in while his family was home. Or Shannon, whose Blink camera caught a package thief. Blink motion-activated cameras are wire-free, set up in minutes, and run on 2 AA batteries that last up to 2 years. Save up to a whopping 40% off all outdoor XT and add-on cameras through December 22nd, while supplies last. Visit blinkprotect.com/holiday. blinkprotect.com/holiday.
The Onion looks back at This Week in History. On July 17, 1980, Ronald Reagan accepted the nomination for president at the Republican National Convention in Detroit and delivered a speech in which he boldly promised that during his presidency, someone would body slam Andre the Giant. While admitting that the road would be long and hard and that it might take as long as 7 years and 2 WrestleManias to get there, the former California governor vowed that under his administration, somebody, perhaps Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, or a hulked-up Hulk Hogan would grab hold of the 500-pound behemoth and send his massive body smashing to the mat. The Republican nominee also went on to promise that by the end of his first term, Joni would marry Chachi, hair metal would achieve mainstream airplay, and Shelley Long would successfully make the leap from television to film.
This is the Onion News Network.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Boost Kid Essentials Nutritionally Complete Drink, providing your picky eater with essential nutrition and great taste in one drink. Visit us at kidessentials.com. To make sure your kids eat healthy, follow the 5-a-day plan. Serve 3 servings of vegetables and 2 servings of fruit daily. Remember, a serving could just mean a piece of fruit or a half cup of veggies. If your kids are picky eaters, ask a nutritionist about other sources. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up what you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Ended up talking about a little bit of international news with Kim Dotcom, the founder of Mega Upload, who years ago now, at least half a decade, maybe more than that, had a helicopter SWAT team raid his mansion in New Zealand and tried to extradite him into the United States to face various different criminal conspiracy charges. I've got the list of them here for effectively assisting people in violating copyright law. Essentially is what they're going after him for, by running a website where you could upload stuff to it.
Right.
He didn't know what you were uploading to his website, but they say that didn't matter. They say he must have known that people were using it for illegal purposes, and so therefore
he must have known.
Conspirator.
But it wasn't designed for him to know, so it doesn't make a difference.
So we can tell you more about that. It's Ian Johnson and Mark in the studio. And Mark, before we go on, other international stuff, you've got a fundraiser happening right now for an orphanage in Uganda that our listeners helped build by donating to a fundraiser that we did last year for it.
As a matter of fact, there's a new twist in all this.
Oh?
If you go to hope.freetalklive.com, and we get enough donations to use up all the matching funds that I currently have. There's $11,500 in matching funds, and we've done more than 2,000 at this point.
Not bad.
So if we go and do that by Christmas, the 12 p.m. or 11:59 p.m. on December the 25th, I will allow Daryl to pick the colors. I want to do red and green for the holidays, but if it's after Christmas, then red and green doesn't make quite as much sense. So I'm going to let Daryl pick the colors that I have my hair dyed into, ridiculous colors, basically.
Why would you let Daryl do it as opposed to, say,
he was on the air last night?
Yeah, but why not like the top bidder or the top donator?
Okay.
Whoever it is that throws the most money in.
I'll have that top donator talk to Daryl. And I'm sure Daryl will put something together with that person.
And 2 colors seems like a lot. Like, how do you do a 2-color hair dye? Would it be like the sides?
I've seen
and the
them
top?
rainbow colored.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it can totally be done.
Yeah.
And if he's picking more than one color, I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care.
How have you never seen rainbow hair?
I mean, I'm sure I've seen rainbow hair at some point, but just not common. Usually if somebody dyes their hair, it's just one color.
It's pretty common at raves.
Yep.
Rainbow hair?
Yes.
Yeah, it's probably where I've seen it, but I wouldn't say it's particularly common. But anyway, so
yeah, basically I'll have Daryl pick the color you want if you're the top donator.
Now, who's going to do the dye job? You can have a woman take care of it for you?
I'm going to have it professionally done.
Yeah. Okay.
So it at least looks better than it could look.
There's a place here in town that takes cryptodicurrency.
Motasua could probably do it. Yeah,
I bet they could.
Yeah, absolutely. And it will require large donors to make this happen by Christmas, by the looks of it.
Yeah.
We've got donations trickling in. It's possible to do, but it will probably take some people who are really committed to seeing me have seeing orphans fed and schooled, and B, seeing me humiliated. And by the way,
I don't know if it's humiliation. I mean, you don't have to look at it that way. You could be excited about it.
No.
Like, hey, you're going to look cool.
I would not. Look, nobody's going to do this to help me look cool, I can assure you. If I want to dye my hair different colors, I could do that.
Yes,
I'm not looking for an excuse, Ian.
I see.
I'm looking for a motivation.
You don't get to control the colors, so yeah.
No. And I think that people will, they seem to be excited about the notion of me dyeing my hair different colors. And
maybe we need to put that on the
that.
Twitch stream or something like that. Do a special hair dye stream if it actually happens.
Yep, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with whatever it takes to get this done by Christmas. Now, it won't be done. This is just the matching funds. I'm still looking for match.
Right, so you're trying to get to $11,000 by Christmas.
11.5, yeah.
Okay. Over
and
at
I'm at 4.
Hope.free. Now you're at 2 donated with 2 matching. So you're trying to reach 11,000 because there's 11,000 pledged for matching, which would get us to 22,000, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And the goal is 30,000 ultimately? Is to
35.
35? Okay. So hope.freetalklive.com. That's HOPE, hope.freetalklive.com. So since it was brought up by Gene the Christian Anarchist, let's talk about Kim.com and what's going on with his case. Gene mentioned a recent post on Kim.com's Twitter, which I have here. He says this was December 17th when he posted this, so yesterday. He says, when we moved to New Zealand, we thought we were moving to one of the least corrupt countries. I can tell you from firsthand experience that New Zealand is a wolf in sheep's clothing, totally corrupt. The amount of law-breaking, lying, spying, and cover-ups by the New Zealand government is simply shocking. And, that's true of everywhere. I'm sorry to say, just because you've moved to the least corrupt country doesn't mean there's not a shocking amount of corruption in the least corrupt country. It just means it's worse by a smidgen in some other places. And the fact is, if the government decides they don't like you and they want to target you, they're going to do it, and they're going to be able to get their hands on you in most parts of the world. Now, Kim.com has been fighting vehemently to prevent his extradition, and the folks over at torrentfreak.com from about 2 weeks ago have an update on that situation. Despite fighting legal battles in both the United States and New Zealand, Kim.com and his former Mega Upload colleagues have a long road ahead of them. Speaking in the Wellington Supreme Court today, lawyer for the United States, David Bolt, indicated that the extradition battle may only be at halftime. When Mega Upload was shut down by the U.S. in 2012, so yeah, I was right, like more than half a decade ago, along with the arrest of its operators in New Zealand, few people anticipated the scale of the legal battle that would ensue. After countless legal processes and procedures, every attempt to force Kim.com and colleagues Matthias Ortman, Finn Batato, and Bram Vanderkolk into submission have been met with resistance. Perhaps the most important battle to have the quartet sent to the United States to face charges including copyright infringement, racketeering, and money laundering is still underway and being fiercely contested. Comments made in the Wellington Supreme Court today indicate the process is moving at a glacial pace. David Bolt, the attorney for the U.S., told the court that the extradition battle might be almost at halftime, opening up the potential for years of struggle. Back in July, after the case had traveled through the district court and high court, New Zealand's Court of Appeal ruled that Dotcom and his former colleagues are indeed eligible for extradition to the United States. Quote, "We are satisfied that New Zealand law permits extradition for copyright infringement in the circumstances of this case. That is so although we have held, contrary to previous authority, that double criminality is required in extradition between New Zealand and the United States. The appellants are accused of conduct that, if proved, would establish extradition offenses in New Zealand law," says the ruling. They further say, "A criminal offense is committed by anyone who knowingly possesses an infringing digital copy of a protected work in the course of business with a view to committing any act, such as online dissemination, that infringes the copyright." Dotcom and his co-accused hope the Supreme Court will come to a different conclusion, but according to RNZ, Bolt told the Supreme Court today there's no direct right of appeal in Dotcom's criminal case, since in 2012, when the case began, there was no eligibility for a third appeal in extradition cases. He said,
eligibility for a third appeal.
He says, "You have said before, if it's not mentioned, we are simply unable to say we have jurisdiction. That contrasts with the civil jurisdiction where there is a right of appeal." I'm lost. I don't even understand what they're saying here.
It's
Have you
okay
followed
for
this?
it's okay for us to send Kim Dotcom off to life in prison in the United States because, our laws are fine with that.
There's more on the way here. 855 450 free, like freedom. Don't have a lot of it, but it's what we do.
You may need this herbal tea for relief right away, so write this down. DRMILLERS clinic.com. If you take meds, then suffer stomach distress, constipation, indigestion, acid reflux, and bloating, and nothing else helps, get Dr. Miller's Holy Tea or Super Holy Tea, a cleansing, detoxifying herbal tea now available at great rates direct from Dr. Miller's office. Call or click 888-660-7039 or DRMILLERS clinic.com.
Hear that? That's the sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what the readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. freedomsphoenix.com, constantly providing the information, the real news about government policies, and the real relationship we all have with the coercive government. The real condition of the economy, innovations in technology, breakthroughs in energy, health, and computer science. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media. The corporate media, nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but now there's an alternative. freedomsphoenix.com. Constant news updates on the issues that affect your life in the most important ways. With liberty and property under constant attack, freedomsphoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda, and it encourages the participation of its readers. Go to freedomsphoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. freedomsphoenix.com. The revolution between the ears has already happened.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want here. Our number is 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. Free Talk Live brought to you by the AMP program and listeners like you. Listeners like Arno Stachler, who is a gold amplifier, he's doing $10 a month because he's gold, but all we ask for is $5. And
thanks, Arno.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you to everybody who either is currently amping or has amped in the past. If you've amped in the past, we sure would love to have you come back. There's different reasons why people stop. Sometimes they're moving from one place to another and they need to conserve as much funds as possible, or they lost their job. There's a lot of different reasons. And so, maybe you spaced out and you intended to come back, but you forgot about it. Well, come on over to amp.freetalklive.com and sign back up, because we sure would appreciate it. It makes a big difference for us when you do that. And as I pointed out, it's only $5 per month. That's, the price of a fancy cup of coffee. If you think what we're doing here is useful, talking about the ideas of liberty and freedom on a nightly basis, 7 nights a week, on broadcast radio across the United States, on satellite radio across continents, and of course on the internet as well, podcast, live streaming. If that's worth $5 a month to you, please help us out over the AMP program, and it makes a big difference. You get some cool perks too as an amplifier. Plus, you can do it with any major credit card. You can use PayPal. You can use Bitcoin, BTC. Go to amp.freetalklive.com. So we go to your phone calls and thoughts. Whether you want to comment on Kim.com and continuing to fight extradition to the United States. It's now apparently possibly going to the Supreme Court in New Zealand, but they may or may not accept the case. That has yet to happen at this point. But we got Tom in New Hampshire. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian Johnson and Mark. Go ahead, Tom.
Well, about that you were just talking about, by the way, you know what I always say is even a banana has the right to appeal. But anyway, it's about the border wall. There's this threat that there's going to be a partial government shutdown because of overfunding of the border wall. They're not going to pass the budget. Now,
I heard they weren't going to shut down the government over this.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. Trump wants that money for the border wall, but didn't he promise he was going to make Mexico pay for that wall?
Yes.
So why should Congress be arguing about funding over the wall if Mexico is going to be paying for it?
It's a good question.
It's one of those little campaign promises that I forgot. Now, in 1996...
Mexico is not going to pay for the border wall. That's not going to happen.
In 1996, my wife was in the Dominican Republic, and we were applying for her K-1 visa to move to the United States for the wedding, and they had one of these so-called government shutdowns. And what that means is that the people who don't work at the embassy, who are going to be not there processing the visa applications, so we got to wait, and then they go back to work, and then they start thinking about processing the visa applications. Then they take weeks and weeks to complete all the paperwork that's required in quotation marks under the regulations that they impose on themselves. They drew that out, but meanwhile, the Border Patrol was still out there. See, the Border Patrol wasn't shut down. So they shut down the permission to the bureaucrats that give permission to enter the United States, but they don't shut down the Border Patrol. That was
as usual.
Problem.
Yeah.
Yep. Take care.
That's what they did the last time with the government shutdown. They made sure they had enough cops to tell people that they can't go into the parks, but they had to release the game wardens.
They put up a bunch of barriers, spent a lot of time and effort making a big production. This happens every time, by the way. They want to make sure that people think they're losing something of value when they shut down the so-called shut down the government, when in reality they're only shutting down a fraction of the government. Because they only shut down what they claim to be non-essential, and of course most of their bureaucrats are considered to be essential. So it really doesn't make much of a difference, except for in some of these visible areas where, parks are actually somewhat useful, unlike most of the government, so they shut those down. That way people think that they're really losing out on something when the government shuts down.
Yeah,
it's all for image.
The places you want to go that the government owns, those are non-essential. The people that are set there to guard them while the government is shut down are essential.
That's what they would have you believe. We continue with your calls and thoughts. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms at discord.lrn.fm. We have Kevin on the line in Virginia. Go ahead, Kevin.
Hey, I just wanted to talk about Bitcoin and I guess cryptocurrencies in general.
Okay.
Not too long ago, I actually called in and I emphasized how Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies were going to crash, and I was, I based off my reasoning through the Austrian business cycle theory, and I really feel bad for all the libertarians and especially the anarcho capitalists that really jumped on the Bitcoin, because I think what's going to happen is that a lot of the mainstream financial guys and people like, who work at the Fed are going to be saying, oh, well, look what happens when you have money in the free market. It's one big bubble. And so I really,
Well, why do you feel sorry for them? I mean, if they got in before 2017, they're still doing great.
Yes, but it's just that, again, philosophically, I agree with the movement. But the economics just isn't there. Money cannot be something that is intrinsically worthless. And a lot of people say, "Hey, there's no inflation."
But that's what most money is.
Well, money has usually been gold and silver, and it's been
not in our lifetime.
Well,
most of the money that people use is inherently worthless. It's pieces of paper that cost 3 cents to manufacture.
Well, we have to remember that we, prior to 1971, we were on a gold standard, and we were right, we had paper money, but paper money was used as a money substitute for gold, and gold has essentially...
There was a time when that was true.
When you mentioned 1971, it's important to note that prior to, I think it was like 1934, after 1934, people couldn't possess gold, really.
They outlawed it, didn't they?
They outlawed it here in the United States, and that this is one of the reasons that I say that gold is the currency of kings, because if you have gold, kings are likely to come along and take it from you.
Yeah, I disagree with the claim that Bitcoin doesn't have an inherent value. It's something that took me a while to really kind of understand, but the inherent value is the fact that it's a money a way to transfer value from one person to another anywhere in the world in basically an instant, securely, and it can't be cracked, it can't be hacked, it can't be taken down, it's decentralized. That's worth something. And the something that it's worth right now is $3,200 or $3,500 per Bitcoin. So it does have an intrinsic value because it's a system that works and it does what it promises to do, and it doesn't rely on the force of politicians and the force of governments to have its value, which is why the U.S. dollar has value.
That's through the blockchain technology, though, right? So. Blockchain is different from Bitcoin. Bitcoin just happens, and other cryptocurrencies just happen to use the blockchain.
No, Bitcoin invented blockchain. Blockchain came out with Bitcoin. That's what happened a decade ago in 2020 or 2008 when the white paper was released on Halloween 2008, and then January 3rd, 2009 when the Bitcoin software was released. So we're in the 10th anniversary right now of Bitcoin. That was the creation of blockchain. Blockchain is the technology that backs Bitcoin, part of it. It's the idea of this, decentralized, distributed, meaning there are copies of it all around the world, public ledger that is immutable and it cannot be, hacked. And then, of course, you add on to that the fact that it's cryptographically secure and sound and, again, unhackable and, based on the internet, so it's fast. And I'm sorry, I just completely disagree with you that, there's no inherent
It sounds like
value.
you guessed the downturn, and if you sold the short, I think that's great. But I wouldn't I wouldn't short it further.
Yeah, I agree.
You do agree to not short it further, so you think it'll go up?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I heard you say the first comment. Yeah, if you sold early, you're
Do you want to hold him, Mark? It's up to you.
Hold him.
All right, more with Kevin in moments. This is Free Talk Live.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you could move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep sleep faster, and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed. It's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry MyPillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose.
And here's Mike's best offer ever. MyPillow is now offering 50% off their 4-pack special plus free shipping. Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-951-5617 and use promo code FTL. That's 50% off plus free shipping. Don't delay. Order now.
Would you like to get back that full head of hair from years past? Introducing Reveal from GCNLife.com. Beverly Hills dermatologist Dr. Nathan Newman invented Reveal, which contains polypeptides with natural botanicals and no parabens, sulfates, silicones, or dyes for a salon-quality hair growth product. Reveal. Here's Dr. Newman.
I have treated a lot of patients who lose their hair and they lose their confidence. We've created a unique set of polypeptides, which we call HPT6. The HPT6 contains the polypeptides from 6 different plants. The scalp infusion treatment should be used on wet or dry scalp. The Reveal hair care system is designed to be used for men and women alike.
Get Reveal at GCNLife.com with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So try Reveal today at GCNLife.com or 844-443-6637. Plus a discount up to 25% off for Reveal at GCNLife.com or 844-443-6637.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Moments remain, maybe enough time for you if you get on the line now. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. With you tonight, Ian.
And Johnson.
And Mark.
855-450-3733. Also, the Discord on-air call-in line rooms are open and available to you over at discord.lrn.fm. What is it? Discord is a chat service. It is free to use. The app is free to download. And if you can use it for its voice chat features, but I think most people just use the text chat channels. We got an on-air now channel where people hang out during the show, and actually usually when we're not on too. That's kind of the most popular channel. That's the channel you kind of get dumped into when you first join the server, so it's easy to find us. And then there's other channels that you can discuss other topics on, like cryptocurrency or video games or pop culture. So head on over to discord.lrn.fm. You can get started by downloading the app and then create your account on the Discord app, and then just in your web browser, just type in discord.lrn.fm, and the app will just jump you right into the server. So toll-free again, number here, 855-450-FREE. We got Kevin on the line in Virginia. He is saying he feels sorry for the libertarians who got on board with Bitcoin, even though, fact is, if you got on board with Bitcoin before August of 2017, your Bitcoins have gone up in price. Because right now, at $3,500 per Bitcoin, we're at around August, September 2017 levels. I mean, that's what we're talking about here. That's the big fall, is we're back to 2017.
Now, one question I'd have is, so what your critique is that Bitcoin can't be money. It can't be currency, right?
Yes, and also it has nothing to store.
Well,
no value to store in Bitcoin.
Okay, well, I see. You're saying that it can't, that there is no value present, so it can't be a store of value.
Yeah.
All right. So if people value the cryptography that's involved in Bitcoin, because you would agree that it is unhackable, right? Like you cannot destroy a Bitcoin.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. If people find value in that, then there is a demand, and then there is a limited supply, so it should have a price, right?
Yes, but I think what we have to remember is that there will always be a Bitcoin 2.0, a 3.0, just like there was a MySpace, there was a Facebook. And so that, I mean, that also has to be taken into consideration regarding Bitcoin and other.
That's a feature. Okay, the fact that the Bitcoin can be upgraded, the fact that there are alternatives, the fact that there's competition, that's a feature. That's not something that people should be afraid of. That's what we want in money. We want money that's going to get better over time, that, you know, is actually going to be competitive with other forms of money to be the best form of money, unlike the government money, which is just awful and barely ever gets any kind of upgrades.
Yeah, and
I mean, first there was coins, then there was paper money, then there was checks. What is there going to be next? Credit cards? I mean, plastic? I mean, what is this? They just keep upgrading the money.
Well, credit cards allow you to pay later. So
how am I going to pay for my horse and buggies with this stuff?
No, none of us here are claiming that we would eat some body appendage if Bitcoin doesn't go to $1 million by 2021. Who said that, Ian?
John McAfee.
John McAfee said that he would eat his
himself
part.
Yeah.
And none of us are saying that. I wouldn't be able to tell you the price. However, you dodged it when I asked whether or not it should have a value. So what you're saying is that value will be mitigated by more supply in the marketplace by the next Bitcoin, the Bitcoin 2.0, Bitcoin 3.0, whatever the next altcoin is that comes down the pike, which then suggests that Bitcoin does in fact have a value. And if it has a value,
it's worth copying and modifying and making better.
Yeah, I mean that seems obvious. Yeah. So, I mean, whip out this Austrian economics and show me where I'm wrong on this one.
Yes, but the suckers who
what do you say?
Move on to Bitcoin
suckers. Okay, suckers.
The suckers who don't move on to, you know, right now let's say we're at Bitcoin 1.0, and then we go to 2.0.
Well,
so the suckers that are
Bitcoin Cash exists. So there's Bitcoin 2.0.
And it's been taking a huge beating over the last couple of months. Bitcoin Cash is at its lowest point that it has been at in its entire lifetime, which, to be fair, has only been more than a year.
It rose 26% today.
I feel like I'm having this conversation in 2014. Okay, so Bitcoin 2.0 already exists, and perhaps Bitcoin 3.0 has been. No,
we don't know what those are, though. There's no thing calling itself Bitcoin 2.0, so I'm not sure what you're referring to is Bitcoin 2.0.
Well, I guess I'm trying to reference the next level of Bitcoin right now.
Well, there may be some technology out there that's better than Bitcoin, but I don't know which one it is, because there's a bunch of different competitors, and right now the market still values Bitcoin more than any of the rest of them. Way more.
I suppose. But I think the main thing to keep in mind is that, you know, it's a bubble, because it's more than the bear market.
Is it still a bubble?
Wow. No, it's deflated. It was at 20,000, and
so
now
it's no longer a bubble, or it's 3, still a bubble.
It's deflated. It's been.
What is it worth? That's what Ian's asking.
No, I was asking. He said it's a bubble, and I was trying to clarify. Was it a bubble in December? Okay, yes, it popped, right? So it's no longer a bubble, or it's still a bubble.
It's no longer. It's gone. It's no longer a bubble.
Okay, so $3,000.
It's worth $3,740.51.
You're saying it's a floor of $3,000. It's not going below that.
It's going to go below that. I'm certain.
Oh, it's going below that. Okay, so what do you expect it's going to go to?
Well, I'm not that smart. If I were smart, I'd be.
Is it going to go to zero? I mean, is it totally worthless? Is it going to go to zero?
It will. It will.
Okay, well then it
will go to zero. He's right about that. The sun will burn to a cinder,
eventually,
and Bitcoin will go to zero. Humans will be extinct. So, by the way, Bitcoin
will be gone.
It's been going up while we've been talking.
Yeah.
All atoms will collapse into one giant black hole in the center of the known galaxy.
Not a good your Bitcoin's going to do then, libertarians.
But information cannot be destroyed, so it will still exist somewhere. Go
ahead.
Yes, you guys have to remember that the quantitative easing, or the fancy way of saying inflation, we had three of those. Yeah, the burn egg. We had three of those, and I think that money, that cheap money, unfortunately, it went into to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Because if you just think of
that, is a new and interesting speculation.
No, that the quantitative easing in 2008.
No, Bitcoin was that's okay. So I think you're wrong, and the reason I think you're wrong is Bitcoin was mainly the ICO bubble, which is what you're referring to as far as Bitcoin here, because Bitcoin's a doorway into the ICO world.
ICO's initial coin offerings.
Yeah,
these are
Bitcoin was in demand for that reason. ICOs weren't popped up by banks; they were propped up by private investors.
Well, I think I referred to the quantitative easings because I read an article 2 years ago, a year ago, on Zero Hedge about people taking out home equity loans and maxing out on credit cards, and the students, I guess, whatever was left on their student loans, they would get a refund, and then they would jump on the Bitcoin. So that would bid up the price. So I think that's...
But you don't think that was... The reason those were news stories was because they were uncommon. I mean, most people weren't taking out home equity lines. Most people weren't maxing out credit cards or taking their student loans. Most people at the time really didn't even know what Bitcoin was or how to get in.
Yeah, I think what made them jump in was when it was, it was on its verge of hitting 20,000. I think that's what led people to jump on Bitcoin and eventually.
So what's the point of your call? Are you trying to warn the listeners, saying don't listen to these Bitcoin people? Get out while you still can. Is that your message here?
Yeah, and I think this is
get back to the safety of the government money.
I'm going to go ahead and say he's a gold bug.
Oh, you're a gold.
He said
guy.
He was an Austrian. What he is a gold bug.
Ah,
and I got to say that gold asteroid, it's out there, and Elon Musk is going to find it. He's going to bring it back here, and the gold market's going to crash.
That's an interesting prediction.
I say Bitcoin is going to be worth more, and I will make a bet with you, sir.
Really?
For an ounce of gold, I will go ahead and bet you that in 5 years, one Bitcoin will still be worth more than 1 ounce of gold.
Well, good deal, but I just should mention just one.
So you don't want to take the bet?
Okay. Yeah.
You do want to take the bet?
I don't even know his name. Of course he wants to take the bet. He can't. I can't collect from him.
Here's what I recommend that you do, Kevin. Jump into our Discord server at discord.lrn.fm, and there's a guy in there who's a huge gold buff. You probably get along with him. His name's Big Loaf. Anyway, Johnson, do you want to do an after show or call it for this week and maybe do it next week?
Sure.
Okay.
I don't know. Whatever.
All right, we're going to stick around. For those of you who want to follow that, you can go to twitch.lrn.fm. We'll keep it going over there in just a few moments. And radio listeners, you can join us again tomorrow night, freetalklive.com. In the meantime.
If you're looking for work, the person you are applying to may be even more nervous than you are. And the way things are now, your references have never been more important. Here are 3 tips. First, know that employers are checking. Every hire is under the microscope these days. Second, they won't just be checking references you provide. Figure that all of your ex-employers will get a call and be asked, would you hire him or her again? Third, assume you will be Googled. So before you apply, remove all those party animal photos from your Facebook page. Even if you're not in the job market, effective communication skills have never been more important, with money and attention so scarce now. For more tips for job seekers and getting better results in all your day-to-day communication, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money.